welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, Mashle, Dr. Stone, and Jujutsu Kaisen, week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 11. I'm your host, Knox.
And Nickums.
Joined once again by Doncho from Doncho's Hideout. Doncho, how you doing, man? Welcome back.
I'm doing good, and I'm blessed to be here, you guys. I am blessed to be here. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You know we had to get you here for this Jujutsu Kaisen talk, baby.
Woo.
Yo, you know what's up.
Yes, sir. Okay, so before we get into the conversation tonight, of course, take a look at the link tree down in the description. That's where you're going to see us on all of our individual social media accounts, ways that you can join our online communities like Discord, ways that you can listen to the Project Manga Podcast wherever you normally listen to your podcast, and ways that you can support what we do here by checking out our online store or our Patreon. Also, I'll have Doncho's links down in the description so you can follow his YouTube channel, follow him on Twitter, and see what he's got going on. But getting into the discussion tonight, Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 11, and boys, I think Jujutsu Kaisen is my chapter of the week.
It was fantastic. It was huge.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about this week though?
Just great, fantastic.
I mean, I feel like the whole week was solid.
Full roster.
I feel like that's been the thing though. Like, I kind of feel like that's just been like the reoccurring thing for Shonen Jump. Like, I feel like people need to go ahead and get their props up.
Right, I swear, it's like we ask that question every week, and it's literally every single time. It's just Shonen Jump is just in an amazing point right now, and everything is fucking incredible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
But yeah, all right, let's do this. Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 138, the Zenin clan. Hold on now.
My family.
Yes, Doncho's fam. Doncho, you are feasting right now. What a chapter. Well, Doncho, how do you feel? Go in.
I mean, like I said, if anybody knows me, who's ever seen me here before, I love bigging up the Zenin clan. Like those are like, and I'm not because like I think there's some like perfect people, far from.
Right.
But like I do just love everything that they bring to Jujutsu Kaisen. I think they were the first major family that we got introduced to, kinda, and were the first one that we really learned like, okay, these families are some assholes. But I feel like they keep this like consistency with them of just rawness, like they're just all fucking cool, like when it comes
at
to
all
design.
times. Yeah,
all times.
It doesn't matter. Like there's not a bad
powers.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to anything that's them. And I had this thread on Twitter where I talked about there seems to be this trend that Akutami does with the Zenin clan, which I think they'll start showing more with the other clans, which is they share like one major personality trait, and that's selfishness.
Yes.
And, like all of them like have like a very like they're like on their mission. Like even though like the clan may or may not have a bigger influence on them, but it still comes down to their mission. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So and I feel like seeing more of that would be what I think is going to be cool for such a character-driven story like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. That's a great point.
Yes.
And I remember your thread on Twitter, and I remember being like, yes, this dude is spitting right now because it's so, because like, if you look at the situation, it's like, look, you know, Maki, even Megumi, you know what I mean? Like, and it kind of makes you, now that what I'm thinking about it and we're talking about it, it kind of makes me just like think about all of the characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, period. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like this whole entire verse is just a bunch of characters that have their idea of how they think the world works and how they think they can be, you know, the best person they can be, you know, whether their motivations are, you know, malevolent or benevolent, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to be the best that everyone in this show is, or everyone in this series is trying to be the best that they can be at what they're trying to do and live their life the way that they think is fit. And I think that is one of the coolest ways to just write a universe, you know what I mean? Because then you don't have the issue that we talk about all the time in this segment about how you have villains and other stories who kind of just feel like they're there just to oppose the main character, you know what I mean? They don't have any agency of their own, really, you know what I mean? Inside of Jujutsu Kaisen, you never really have to worry about anything. It's a very plot-driven story, but it's a very character-driven story at the same time, and it's just a bunch of clashing ideals constantly. And there's really no right or wrong. There's no good or bad guy, you know what I mean? So
it's another way. It's like Hunter, right? Where like in Hunter, all the characters are very selfish. They have their own motivations. They're all kind of insulary, even though they're working together, right? They're really in their own direction, just going along with other people in their similar direction, right? You know what I mean?
It's like a road trip.
Yeah.
Like a gang road trip. Yeah, that's true.
Right. So getting into the actual like events of the chapter, right? So like this is massive because one, this is the first time we're seeing so many new characters, and I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't really dump new characters on you like this. You'll get like one new character every so often. Right. But like this is just like, here's everyone. Well, not everyone, but here's a fuck ton of new characters, you know what I mean?
For real.
And there's a lot of confusion inside of, you know, how this family tree kind of works. There's, you know, implications of incest and things like that with how with the titles of the, you know, of the family members, with a whole bunch of uncles and aunts and cousins and brothers and sisters in the mix. It's getting really hard to kind of keep everything together.
Exactly.
But one thing that we know is that this family is on some shit, man.
Yes, they're crazy.
Like the misogyny, the like. Look at this quote, bro. This motherfucker Naoya, bro. He's got to be cold, but I hate this son of a bitch, bro.
Yeah, for real.
Like, what does he say? He says, Maki may be pretty, but she's unacceptable. She doesn't know how to support a man. Any woman who can't walk 3 steps behind a man, she gets stabbed in the back and die.
What the fuck?
Damn.
Seriously.
3 steps behind.
Yeah, this is some other shit.
I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, wow. So just seeing how shitty this character is, seeing how, and just all of these other family members, like Jinichi.
Mm-hmm.
So do we think that this is Toji's dad? I think the consensus is this is, or not Toji's dad, but brother, rather.
That's what I kind of felt.
Yeah,
I kind of thought that was like a Toji's brother thing. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Sure.
It's got to be something like that if he's going to instantly activate on Naoya just from hearing him talk shit about Toji.
Yeah. Did you guys notice that he oddly looks like the inverse dude from
Awakasa?
That Yuji and
the bald dude with the little whoop and the mustache.
And I was like, these two kind of look alike.
It looks like a young version of him, a young Awakasa or whatever.
Right? So I was wondering, like, man, could that guy possibly been a Zenin clan member? And like, I don't know. That'd be interesting. But
that'd be super interesting.
They do.
They do for sure.
Is awesome.
The vibes I was getting from this guy, young Isaac Netero, or maybe like beyond Netero, right? Yes. Like very, very wild, gruff.
He's got the forehead scar, the black long hair, the gruff. This is beyond Netero.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you're right.
Yo, that's really fucking cool. So okay. So they're all here to discuss Naobito's will, and that's crazy that Naobito died.
Yep.
Yes. I was definitely not expecting him to die, but that's the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. So I'm glad that Gege shows things like this, because some people might say, like, we didn't see enough from Naobito. He was killed too early for shock value. And it's like, he's really a character that can kind of like exist after his death very easily. Sure. Obviously, we see him right now. We're in a room. He just died and they're talking about his will. He's going to continue to be a character that matters, even though he's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On top of that, and you never know if he'll become a vengeful spirit, you know, or anything like that in the future. We have, I just made a tweet the other day about how someone pointed out how, like, Jujutsu Kaisen anime opening 1, there's that scene with Maki putting up her glasses and you see that cursed spirit in the reflection. And someone called out, they said, I can't remember who it was, but someone was like, that looks kind of like Naobito. You know what I mean? And
it does.
It does. You know what I mean? When you look at it, it does. So we know he's dead. We don't know what his last words were yet. You know what I mean? And we know how vengeful spirits work. So there is a chance that he could resurface later on in the series as a vengeful spirit. But either way, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy that this is a world where you don't need to get a fully fleshed out character arc before you die. It can happen that quickly. Not everyone needs center stage. You know what I mean? And I like how Gege does that with a character like Naobito instead of a character that like means a little bit more to our main cast.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Gege
since he's a little older, right? Like the story of Jujutsu Kaisen is not about Naobito's generation, right? It's about Yuji's generation, Megumi's generation, you know what I mean? Nobara's generation. So like you wouldn't want him to be a character forever anyway, you know? We saw him activate, we got him in the mix of the Zenin clan drama.
Yeah.
Like he did his purpose in the story, you know what I mean, as far as we know. So it's like I think it makes a lot of sense to show him being super badass, give him some personality, and then like let's have some high stakes quickly for this character. Very very intense.
I think that was a good way to handle him. I didn't see him as that important anyway. Like I never fell into the whole like, oh, he's the head of the clan, I need to see him like be super actiony and like see him go and do all of these million things. Like Nick just said, I just seen you fight Dagon.
Yeah,
cool.
And you went
like,
crazy.
You know, like that was what I needed.
Yeah.
You was raw as fuck. So
and we got narration that said that he was the second fastest Jujutsu sorcerer behind Gojo. Like he's got feats. We seen him do some shit. We know who he is as a character, what his role is in the Zenin clan and to Maki and Megumi's characters. We got a lot from Naobito before he died. So even though he he was introduced really early. We didn't really see him for a long time. Then we got him in Shibuya, a really big situation. He turned up, died, boom, cool. You know what I mean? That's really all he needed to do. But I like how quickly, he was taken out, because it did feel like we could have seen more from him. So I like that feeling, because stakes are such a big deal to me in shonen storytelling. You know what I mean? So anywhere that you can fit in, organic storytelling like that to kill a character, I love that.
One of the things that we got in Naobito was the first special grade 1 sorcerer reveal, right? Like, it's like, oh, he's like a special grade 1, like somewhere in between a grade 1 and a special grade shaman. And here we have 3 more, right? These new 3 Zenin characters, like, oh, damn. So, like, as powerful as Naobito was, we have 3 people, like, on his level here. That's crazy.
Right. And now Ogi Zenin. So there was a conversation I remember on the timeline about a translation inside of this person Ogi. I remember before we actually got the name card for Ogi Zenin, there was a translation in one of the episodes of the anime, or maybe even in the manga. It said this too, but it referred to Maki and Mai as daughters of the Ogi. You know what I mean, or whatever I think was the verbiage that was used in that translation.
Sure.
So that confused a lot of people. And one thing that I want to say is that obviously we can see that Ogi is a person now, you know what I mean? Yep. So that's cool. But as far as that translation goes, that's either a mistranslation, you know what I mean? Or the Ogi is talking about, Ogi Zenin's like immediate family. You know what I mean? It's talking about like the Ogi immediate family, you know what I mean? For Ogi. So that's something that was really cool to kind of like get ironed out in conversation over the weekend. And then, oh my God. Okay. So the will.
Yes.
So let's talk about this will, right? Real quick, because because this dude comes out, the 27th head of the Zenin clan is to be Naoya Zenin. So this tells me that this was Naobito's original plan. Right? Right? This is what Naobito wanted specifically, Yeah. But then obviously the stipulation that was worked out between Toji and Naobito, I'm assuming back in chapter 113, when we got the flashback during the Toji and Megumi confrontation that showed Naobito, all like with a sweater and a scarf. He looked like a beauty pageant mom. You guys remember that scene? Right. Yeah. And then he's, he's talking. I don't remember the exact conversation. I just looked up the conversation not too long ago. It was something about how, my kid's gonna be something someday. If he's got an inherited technique, I want 8 racks, you know what I'm saying? Like 7,000 without that or something like that. And then Naobito is like, we'll give you 10 racks if he's got an inherited technique or something. And then that conversation ends. But I'm assuming that conversation continues, obviously, after that. And they talk about, this situation inside of the will. And then they just didn't show us that back in chapter 113 is what I'm assuming. You know what I mean? Yes. Now, considering that this stipulation says if Gojo is to be killed or mentally incapacitated, Megumi will enter the Zenin clan as the head.
So, but wasn't that with the written approval of Toji?
A written agreement concluded with Toji Fushiguro will welcome Megumi Fushiguro into the Zenin clan.
Oh,
so they already worked
this out. They already did the agreement.
Yeah, they already
got
did the agreement. Right, that's what I was saying back in chapter 113. I'm assuming that's the conversation that they had. Naobito goes, all right, cool. Gojo's not going anywhere. So let me go ahead and amend this will so that I can get this Megumi kid. But after that, what does Toji want to do? Kill Gojo.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking, that he goes, all right, you can have my son until Gojo dies.
Pretty much.
And then when Gojo dies, Megumi is your boss now. So when you die, when Naobito dies, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. So this is the question. I'm assuming. So if Gojo were to be sealed while Naobito was still alive, obviously that wouldn't make Megumi.
No, it would not.
Right. So Naobito has to die, and Gojo has to be dead or mentally incapacitated for this to work for Megumi. So what, was Toji gonna go fucking murder Naobito after he killed Gojo?
Could be. I mean, it makes me wonder. It kind of makes me wonder if Toji just set it up to where, like, okay, nothing's going to really happen to Gojo. Like, part of me kind of wonders if he knew he was going to die attacking Gojo to a degree. Like, if he went in with the mindset of, I might die anyway. Like, I'm going against this kid who's already seen as the strongest nigga out here. You know what I'm saying? So he's probably wondering like, okay, if I go at him, I could not die. But he probably thought, okay, I can still take this kid out.
Right.
And then Megumi has this whole setup and it's just whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe that could have been his way to slide back into the Zenin family and do whatever he wants now. Like, so remember, it's a whole bunch of toss-ups.
So remind me, Dansho, at the end of Hidden Inventory, when in the second round 2 of Gojo versus Toji, they have a conversation about Megumi during that fight, or was that just an internal monologue of Toji thinking about Megumi? Does Toji actually say?
He says to him, like, he's like, hey, so I have a kid and he's going to be sold to the Zenin clan in 3 years.
Yeah.
Do what you want with him.
Right. So this is what I think happened. He went to go meet up with Naobito. He said, yeah, so, buy my kid. Gojo dies and you die. He's the head of the Zenin clan. You know what I mean? And so they made that deal. Then he's like, I'm about to go kill Gojo for this other job anyway, so maybe I'll go kill Naobito after I kill Gojo and just make my kid the head of the Zenin clan or something. But he could have also put a contingency in place because he knows that Gojo is the strongest and that there is not a guaranteed chance that he will survive that assassination attempt, no matter how cold-blooded of an assassin you are. So I think that he kind of like set it up to where he's like, okay, if I win, I go kill Naobito and my son is the head of the Zenin clan. If I lose, Gojo's going to go take my son and not let the Zenin clan have him.
Take him.
You know what I mean? Until Gojo is incapacitated or Megumi becomes his own person and decides what else he wants to fucking do. But as far as the clan politics and all of the bullshit involved with like legal paperwork and how this family works, Toji set up Megumi's life like perfectly. Now, obviously, there's a whole bunch of other factors involved that could have had this go horribly wrong for Toji, but it seems like things are happening. Out. Yeah, you know, according to his plan right now, which is fucking cool as shit.
And what I find really interesting about Nobito's part of the will with giving up the clan to Noya is that he says upon approval by either Ogi or Junichi, Noya will take over all duties. So he can't even take over all duties yet until one of them or both of them go, okay, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, that's right. Ogi either Ogi or Junichi have to approve Naoya's clan headery, clan headship, or whatever.
Yes. And that's why he gets so pissed, because he's like, okay, these two would prefer supporting Megumi over me because they don't like me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he instantly like, okay, I have to go take out Megumi now because he's technically the head. Like, he's yelling out loud, yeah, I'm the head, but he's really not. Right now, Megumi is.
Right.
And so for all we know, Junichi and Ogi could be like, oh, hell no, let's go get Megumi real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Train him up. Get him right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he can actually be the head.
So Naobito must not like his son then. So Naobito probably put it in the will like, yeah, now you get to be head when I die, but Ogi or Junichi have to sign off on it because Ogi and Junichi probably represent Naobito's will the closest. Is what my headcanon is right now as of this chapter. So if Naoya has all of this potential, you know what I mean? And Naobito knows that, but your son's a dick. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe having Ogi and Junichi being the ones that need to sign off on, the approval to make him clan head was Naobito's, way of kind of helping his son to grow up. It's like, if you want to be clan head, you need to get approval from one of these two guys that don't fuck with you. So what are you going to do? You gonna kill him, or are you going to shape up? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking that could have potentially been Naobito's original idea. It could also be a situation where Toji and Naobito worked out the situation to where Naobito is like totally on board with this whole Megumi is head, if Gojo like dies kind of thing, and he's just like, yeah, let's absolutely do that because Gojo, no one's going to kill Gojo. I don't think anything was underhanded on Toji's side. I think that this was like a whole entire agreement that Toji just had more information than Naobito on, and Toji failed in his assassination, but then Gojo was sealed anyway. So I just think that that's really cool how it all worked out. It's like Toji's accidentally playing 5D chess, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But still, like, it's just like, what a crazy situation, like in a shonen story. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing like this going on.
And people thought that, Megumi even getting this type of attention would be toward EOS. It's right here. It's right here, right now. And now they have to figure out how to handle it, And he asked, where's Megumi at right now? And Megumi's looking for Yuji. And that is already like so many layers of emotion for me personally, because I love that duo. And I can already think of what's going on in Megumi's head, because I kind of want to know, does he know about his sister right now too yet? Or is he only knowing about Yuji and is out here running about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm wondering what exactly is going on, and where's, Nobara? Like, it's just so much, but and the fact that even before, I don't want to get too ahead of the chapter, but the fact that Yuji even himself is like thinking, okay, Sukuna wants Megumi. Like, I have to stay away from Megumi. It's like, whoa, how is that gonna work? It's emotional, I think. It's really cool.
It's very emotional. I think it's crazy how Gege is going like back-to-back war arcs. I just wanted to throw that out because like this is setting up a civil war right now inside of the sorcerer community. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we have humans versus curses in one war. Now we have humans versus humans in another war. It's like there's probably going to be one more war before the end of the series, at least, you know what I mean, for the final confrontation, you would assume. So it's like, what is going on? I'm sorry, Nick, but you were about to say something, so.
Yeah, I was just going to say before we move on from the will stuff, I can totally imagine Naobito kind of wanting to bring Megumi back into the Zenin clan headship, because of his technique, right? Like, he has that 10 spirits technique, whatever, right? I forget what it's called exactly, but
shadows.
Like, that's like, 10 shadows technique, where it's like the ultimate technique of the Zenin clan, right? So it's like the Six Eyes kind of thing.
Right.
So I could totally imagine him being okay with eventually Megumi, even over his own son, for the benefit of the clan, becoming the clan head, as long as, and that might be where like Toji maybe, I don't know, holds him back a little bit. Like, what if they didn't have the written agreement that Toji would let him be the clan head, right? You know what I mean?
Right. Now, see, here's the thing, because after this, okay, so Megumi was sold to Naobito before his technique manifested. So it all depends on like when Naobito left that conversation, if that conversation continued and held all of this content. We're still assuming that's still an assumption. But like, if that was the case, then like, when did Naobito go back and amend the will in this way? Because that's a big deal. Because if he is okay with Megumi being the head of the clan over Naoya, when he doesn't even know what Megumi's technique is yet,
sure,
you know what I mean? Then that's weird. But then if his technique manifests and you find out he's a 10 shadow user, sure, you probably want that as the head of the clan, since that's like the biggest technique in the Zenin clan. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, what is Naoya? Like, is Naoya a 10 shadow user too? Because I mean, like, I want to say that Naoya could be a 10 shadow user too. Because it's like, if you find out Megumi is a 10 shadow user and still want Naoya to be the clan head, then Naoya is a 10 shadow user and he's just a dick, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's
so interesting.
Yeah,
that is interesting. It makes me wonder. It makes me kind of just assume that maybe he isn't one, and that's why just adding the whole Megumi thing is such a big deal.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, the technique's back in the family. We gotta do this right now. You know what I'm saying? It came back.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's what it could be, but it would be crazy if Naoya did have it, and then we get to see that clash, and then Megumi gets some type of like maybe ideas or something off of Naoya and turn it like that would be sick.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That'd be really cool.
That would be some man.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Really nice. So do you think Naoya is even going to get to Yuji, considering he's saying he wants to kill Yuji as well?
Right. So I'm thinking that everyone who wants to assassinate Yuji is going to pull up like around the same time. You know what I mean? Okay. And I think that everyone that wants to help Yuji is probably going to pull up around the same time. Because if you look at the words here, it's like, okay, so we know Megumi is looking for Yuji right now. So Megumi's looking for Yuji. Jinichi and Ogi don't fuck with Naoya. Yep. And they probably don't want him to assassinate Megumi, so we can assume Ogi and Jinichi, one or both, will go to aid, Megumi on their side. So you have Ogi, Jinichi, Yuji, Choso, Megumi versus Naoya, Yuta, and whoever else. And then you got the fucking like curses going crazy. You know what I mean? Like in the world, it's like, man, what is this going to be?
It's hell. I mean, now you're right here. He says it himself. He says Tokyo's become a realm of demons now. It doesn't matter when or how people die.
Right.
So it's like he doesn't even care about the civilians. Like he's just like, I'm out here. And that's kind of crazy.
That's very crazy. And I love how like the Curse family was such a big antagonistic force in the series for so long. and then you kill them all, and then you know that's going to leave, even though Geto's still there, and you don't know what him and Uraume are doing, but like that probably leaves a big hole. You know what I mean? In a lot of in a lot of people, where they're like, damn, like I really miss those guys. Is the series going to be the same?
Right.
But then now the antagonistic force is humans that we've been wanting to know about forever. So that kind of like fills that gap. But then also there's curses going crazy in the background. So we're still going to see crazy curse stuff at the same time. But I just like how the tone shift, for the villainous landscape switches to humans now. And for me, it's like, yeah, this is right on time. Like sure, I miss Jogo, Dagon, Hanami, and Mahito just as much as the next guy. But like, this is like this is literally the perfect next step after killing all of them. You know what I mean? Like this is what you do. You know what I mean? If this wasn't happening, I feel like I would be bummed that until the next until the next villain is hyped up and fleshed out and we can be excited about them. I was like once the Curse family died, I was like, man, like yeah, I was like, what are they? But then it's like, come on, it's Gege. Gege knows what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? They're gonna give us
every
villains.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I
They
mean?
really do.
But yeah, so like this is crazy. So Yuki here, right? So Yuki, sorry for not acting sooner. The situation had reached a point where I thought I should temporarily just keep an eye on things. Have you realized I'm not necessarily on your side? I'm just a humble beauty who wants to eradicate cursed spirits from the world. Who's she talking to here?
I assume Yuji.
That's what I was assuming too. I just was asking around to see what other people thought, and everybody I was talking to saying Yuji as well. And I kind of felt like he was kind of thinking about her saying that to him while he's sitting down.
Sure.
And that's why we have the black, because usually when we get that black from Gege, it's a flashback, right?
Yep.
And then when you see it says, now what will you do? She's asking Yuji, what will you do now that you're in this situation? And he's thinking about her asking those questions when we come down to that final page and he's sitting on the staircases. That's how I interpreted that.
Yeah. I think you're 100% spot on. Exactly.
Yeah,
like that's exactly what I figured too. And narratively, or rather, like in terms of page flow, right? Like asking what will you do, and then immediately, as you said, going to the next panel with Yuji. I mean, like it basically is implying it must be Yuji. Of course, we don't know for sure, but I think best guess is exactly as you described it, Dancho.
Yeah. And I thought she was on the phone this whole time, so like I thought, like, why would she be talking to Yuji like in a phone call? But no, she's standing right there, the stairs. I don't know if this is the same location actually. No, I mean,
it could be like above, because you see how they show the subway where you could walk down.
Yeah,
so maybe they're kind of showing he was talking to her up top.
Yeah,
they're showing where he could have walked down at, and now he's finally sitting on there thinking. And then that's when Choso comes. Hey, are you okay? How are injuries?
That. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That type of deal.
I love how Gege has this line of dialogue here. Have you realized I'm not necessarily on your side? We have no reason to think that Yuki is not on Yuji's side. Like, how are you not on Yuji's side? But like Gege just wants to just reinforce the point that we were talking about at the beginning of the segment about how there's no good guys, there's no bad guys, there's just people who want things. Yeah. And they go about, however they think they should go about to get those things for themselves. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Of course, you care about people, to a large degree, but it's very utilitarian a lot of the time. But like, you care about people, but like not enough. You're not a superhero. No one is a superhero. You know what I mean? And I just love how that point is constantly rehashed throughout the series, even on inside of the protagonists. You know what I mean? It's like, this is literally moral gray area, the manga. And I'm so fucking here for it.
Love it.
Yeah.
And even the moment of her saying, like, I'm going to confront Tengen.
Yeah, dude.
By way of apology, my comrades and I will take responsibility for delivering those kids who were there. Like, it's like Yuki's like sitting there like, listen, kid, like, like she's just talking to Yuji like, hey, I'm not with you. I'm not against you, but I'm trying to get rid of all these cursed spirits. You kind of a cursed spirit.
Right. You know?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Things going on.
I understand your circumstances, but you just kind of killed like 1,000 people.
Right.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
20 minutes ago.
And he has to like absorb all of this. And I think that's so crazy for a 16-year-old boy, 15, 16-year-old boy to go through, where he has to really sit here and go, okay. And Gege keeps doing callbacks of like lines that were said within regular dialogue in the series. You know what I'm saying? Like when he sits there and specifically thinks, what if someone you saved today kills someone tomorrow?
Yeah, dude.
And that was just like a little bubble that was given to Megumi back in chapter like 5 or 6. But now that's a strong line that's ringing in Yuji's head multiple times throughout the series. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's those type of callbacks that make you remember, okay, not only is that Megumi's moment of saying, don't kill this kid, the core of this story, it also is going to keep coming back, and it's going to keep coming to the surface and keep being relevant. And I think that's impressive. For being 138 chapters in, and you can go back to 6 and be like, damn, Yuji, he really did say something to you right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
And on your point of, to kind of like dovetail off of your point that you made about how Yuji is just a 16-year-old kid going through all of these things. And this is something that, another thing that I have to take my hat off to Gege for, is showing how the experiences affect the experiences of the main, because all of these shonen main characters are 15, 16, 17 years old going through hell. You know what I mean? Compared to our lives, you know what I mean?
Right.
Especially compared to our lives, you know what I mean? So, but like Gege, one, I feel like Yuji goes through a lot more, you know what I mean? Like really fucked up, just because of the world that this story takes place in. I feel like the things Yuji goes through are heavier just at base than most shonen, you know, hardships, you know what I mean?
For sure.
In the actual story, backstories are one thing, you know what I mean? You can have some really fucked up shit in a backstory, but as far as what a character goes through throughout the story, is, you know, kind of dependent on how dark the author wants to go, you know what I mean? And obviously this is a very dark story for shonen, you know what I mean? And Yuji is constantly shown self-reflecting, you know, after the really fucked up things that he goes through. And in shonen storytelling, you don't really think about it to this degree, because you have these shonen superheroes, these main characters that go through horrible things, and they either smile through it, you know, shout through it, you know, macho, you know, not done yet type shit, you know, regular shonen shit. And you either have them going through terrible things and gritting their teeth through it and just being a boss, or you have, you know, them going through like kind of fucked up things and then sitting and reflecting on it. But Jujutsu Kaisen is like, you're going through absolutely terrible things and you're sitting and reflecting. Like, it's literally everything, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like you just don't, you really only see this in like seinen storytelling. You know what I mean? This is Berserk. Like, I'm not, this isn't Berserk level, but like, you know what I mean? Like, this is stuff you see in those kind of stories, you know?
I find it cool because I feel like Gege is kind of reminding you this is a horror story. Like, it's really a shonen horror story, and you kind of like forget that that's what it is at its core, but then you come back to it like, oh no, wait, this is not sweet at all. Like, just the things that they're fighting, what creates them is nothing that's even really talked about. Like, even when they bring up demons and exorcism type of manga, it might be like, oh yeah, this is the resentment of someone, that's cool. But these entities can become human-like entities created from any type of negative emotion, regret, hate, anger, you know what I'm saying, depression, any of those types of things, and those things reflect into these monsters directly, which reflects into the sorcerers killing them, which makes them think about their own life experiences. So like you said, you keep getting hit with the reflection at every level, you know what I'm saying? It can start surface level and they can go way deeper if you really start looking at it in certain ways, and it hurts. You know,
and it makes the growth inside of these characters very apparent when you constantly show them reflecting on the things that they just went through. You know what I mean? And you never have to even think like, man, like, is there enough character development? Is there enough character growth in this? Like, no, it's all here all the time in your face. There's no confusion. You know what I mean? Everyone wears their hearts on their sleeves. Everyone, you know, is very transparent about their emotional state, you know what I mean? And things like that. And the energy system allows for so many, like, so many worries that people have about, you know, shonen storytelling history, characters coming back to life, you know, that died, shonen power-ups feeling ass-pully. When you have an energy system that literally says fear, anger, hatred, all of those can be turned into more power, then when you have those Super Saiyan moments, you know, like when Goku first turns Super Saiyan for the first time after Krillin dies, instead of just going, he was so angry he got power. Instead of going, oh, he was just so angry he got his burst of power. No, this is how the energy system like actually works, and it's explained and like fleshed out in a way to where we knew this could happen before it does. You know what I mean? If Yuji is fighting someone with someone else and his homeboy gets murdered in front of him, yeah, he's going to have a Super Saiyan moment. You know what I mean? Because that energy of him feeling that way directly is stated to fuel your power source. You know what I mean? So you don't get that like Deus Ex Machina kind of like feel when characters power up after, you know, really traumatic situations. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, characters can come back, you know, through seance like Toji did. but it's obviously very temporary and there's a million different stipulations, but also characters can come back just from having like really negative circumstances and regret tied to their death. You know what I mean? Right. So if you're just this evil, like Noritoshi Kamo, you know what I mean? Right. You're this evil person and you die, you know what I mean? You come back as a vengeful spirit. Now you're another enemy. It's not like a tried and true Dragon Ball revival. You come back as a disfigured, you know what I mean? Horrific monster. You're still a character. But it's not like, oh, really? You're back? That's kind of, you know, where the stakes go. You know what I mean? It's not like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many, it's just such tight storytelling and writing. You know what I mean? You just never have to feel like anything is ever going to be mid or mediocre. You know what I mean?
And because it's so meticulous, you kind of know, okay, they're going to make this work. Like, because you can't even set up a story this meticulous without wanting to keep going with doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's the type of story it is, you know?
I just love how all of the regular complaints you see about these kind of situations in shonen storytelling are all just taken care of by the energy system, just incorporating all of that in a way that makes sense. And I feel like we just don't, like, this is what's truly unique about Jujutsu Kaisen, is the way that this energy system is handled in regards to how you get power-ups and characters coming back to life. You know what I mean? It just addresses all of those complaints, and it's just so well thought out.
And this conversation between Choso and Yuji, like, I feel like it's like diving deeper into the specifics of a potential ability we assume Yuji has, right? This like making someone your brother type shit. Because like Yuji's even saying, like, you know, I literally killed your brothers, you know what I mean? Like, are you fine with this? He's like, yeah, no, it's cool. And if they were in my shoes, like, yeah, they'd be totally fine with it. It's legit. Yeah. Don't worry.
It isn't about forgiving or not forgiving. Brothers are just like that. I was like, oh, shit.
It's like, it doesn't matter what happens before you use your ability. Like, it's fine. Like, just go for it. Just make him your brother.
Just asking too many questions. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, just leave it alone. And I'm excited because he even still brings up Shoso. And the others, he says, you know, like, so he even says, if you want to, and that's what I love about Choso. He's so on go. Like, he was like, if you want to go back to Jujutsu High, we can. I got to go grab the others anyway. Like,
it's just so nonchalant. Like, you think they're just going to let you walk in there and take the death paintings? You know what I'm saying? So what, you're attacking Jujutsu High and you're just casually telling a student?
He like, I'm going to do that. We could just go ahead and do that. I mean, I guess because now he knows, like, you're not really a student anymore, you know? I mean, even, it took me, like, the third time I was looking over the chapter, I'm like, wait a minute, Yuji has on regular clothes. Like, he doesn't have on this sort of uniform anymore.
I thought it was just updated. I thought he just I feel like I can still see the high waters.
I don't see the button. I don't see none of that yet. So I'm like, he has on regular clothes, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. The hoodie, you can see it because it's got
the hoodie.
That's wild.
He just has regular clothes on now. So I'm like, okay.
That's a great spot.
Wow.
And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense because when he got attacked by Brain Kun, his clothes got shredded. You know, his top part shredded off. He was, he couldn't go back and go re-up on a new uniform.
You're totally right. I'm screaming. Oh my god.
Nothing in the business district and throw something on it and keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Like,
my god.
How Gege keeps that consistency. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I can't draw him in the uniform no more. Let's throw another jumpsuit on him. Keep the signature hoodie, but it's something else. You know what I'm saying? And then just keep going on. And he's just, I just feel so bad for this kid because he really thinks like he knows I killed all of these people. Like, this is because of me. Like, this is my fault, you know?
Yeah. And I love how Gege shows it in the art. Like, it's constantly over the shoulder shots where you can't see all of Yuji's face, which really drives home the emotion that he's feeling at the time. He's really down on himself. These angles really help with that, I feel like, is obviously coupled with the dialogue. But like, how many times we don't even see Yuji's face until the last panel, and we see him in like 6 or 7 panels before that. You know what I mean?
That's so
he
great.
has a scar on his face.
He's kept the scar.
Dead serious. Yep, the scar's still there. He looks dead serious in the face, like, and he just tells Choso, like, "Let's go. We got to kill as many cursed spirits as we can." Like, you know, that's all we can do. That's all I can do right now. And Choso's like, okay. And like that's crazy to me. Like,
in terms of like a 16-year-old, not very smart shonen protagonist, you know what I mean? That is probably all he can think to do. You know what I mean? Like, he's so overwhelmed with the emotion of all the people he's killed. The first thing he wants to do is help people, right? Like, and I'm not going to think too hard about the strategy. You know what I mean? Like, who's coming after me? What's going to happen to me? He doesn't care all that much. He just wants to kill as many cursed spirits as he can to make him feel better about reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And him and Choso here talking about Shoso and the other brothers. So, like, are we assuming that all of 9 death paintings are blood manipulation users then?
Something of the sort, I would assume.
Because I had this idea that I thought would be so fucking cool, that there's 9 death paintings, there's 3 major clans, 3 Kamo, 3 Gojo, 3 Zenin death paintings.
Oh yeah,
was what I thought was going to be the situation. But it sounds like here that all of them are Kamo paintings. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is cool. That's like, this was always something that I thought that Choso would do after the end of the Yuji fight. I was like, well, he's going to obviously come back from this, snap out of it or whatever, and then, you know, continue to be a character in some kind of way, maybe go grab the rest of the death paintings and maybe like rally the Kamo around his cause, you know, or something like that. I always thought that that's where this was going to go, but I really wanted them to be other clans, bro. Like, imagine 3 curses with Limitless.
Sure,
that'd be crazy.
You know what I mean? Like that would just be would be wild. You know what I mean? Now they still could be. It still could be like that, but it's pretty. I think we can safely assume that they're all blood manipulation.
The thing about Choso, like, calmly saying he wants to go get the other ones, like, Yuji doesn't even know, like they have to put them in a human. And a regular live human has to be the vessel. So, like, even if that was to even happen, it's like Yuji's not about to let you put your brothers in a regular innocent human so that they can live. Like, that's
so this means that Yuji doesn't know about that process. Obviously, why would he? Yeah, that makes sense. Because I was like, why is he just like not addressing that?
Right.
I was like, oh, because he doesn't fucking know what the process is. Does Choso even know what the process is?
I'm pretty sure.
He says remains. He says
no, because Geto was there. You know what I mean? Brain-kun was there the whole time. So, but would he explain how the death paintings come to be? You know what I mean?
Remember,
to Choso?
They've been awake 150 years knowing about each other's existence. So when the other ones, when they take in and then they start putting them into people and start waking up, I'm going to assume that, you know, while still in the tube, they like are realizing this is the awakening is happening.
Oh my God, wait a minute. Choso's 150 years old?
Yes.
Oh my God, I do not remember that.
When they talk about all the wounds, they specifically say for the 150 years that they was in the tubes. In
the tube for 150 years, and then recently, so Choso was just recently like born.
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. I thought I was tripping. I was like, wait a minute. No, this motherfucker has not been sentient, alive, awake for 150. I was like, man, I could not have missed that. But yes, I do, because I know that this was Noritoshi Kamo's experiment 150 years ago. So I know that the fetuses have been there for that.
They've been there, right?
Yeah. Wow. What is going on with Jujutsu Kaisen, man? Like, and I'm so glad that I've been going into the chapters blind. I haven't been looking at any of the spoilers. I haven't been looking at any of like the scans. I've literally just been waiting till Sunday and ignoring everybody. So, and honestly, it's better this way.
I think so.
It is better this way for me, you know, at least, you know what I mean? Like, I'm someone who's like super impatient and like just like needs to know, you know what I mean? But like, you do that for a couple of years and then you get a story like Jujutsu Kaisen, you know what I mean? It's like,
I'm good.
I'd have to start chilling on this, you know what I mean? Some of these moments are getting soiled, man. Yeah. But yeah, I think that that's all I had for JJK this week. What a discussion though, you guys.
Amazing.
Wow.
Per usual.
Yeah, of course. Okay, getting into Dr. Stone, chapter 185, Lovely Cleavage Plane.
What is that referring to? I don't really get it. But this cover, I have to like ask y'all, like what is this trying to portray exactly? Like Senku,
no idea.
Senku gives Kaseki a spring in his step or something. What is happening? He's like,
nice.
Stepping on his face, and Senku's like, yeah, I'm just a little boy smiling here. I don't know. I don't really get it.
He's lifting up Kaseki.
With his mind.
Yeah, metaphorically.
With his big brain.
Yes, lifting. Yep. Yes, that's got to be
brain
what boost. It is. Because this is a huge Kaseki chapter, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's huge.
And, you know, Senku really does kind of like lift him up in this chapter. Like, we have a line of dialogue from Kaseki that was like, oh, Senku, you know how to gas me up, buddy. You know, so it's like, that's got to be what it is, I feel like. That's a really cool metaphor if that's the case.
Yeah, for sure. And we got we got a diamond making battle between Joel and Kaseki, like they're both going their own way or whatever. This is really cool to see Kaseki going hard, like in the really high detailed, high tech stuff.
Yes, and I love whenever Kaseki is drawn HD. You know what I'm saying? Like swole, you know what I'm saying? With the shading and shit. And this panel on page 4 of all of the diamonds is beautiful. And one thing that I think is cool is that by the end of the chapter, Kaseki figures this out before Joel.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
sick.
That's because everyone has their role. You know what I mean?
Right.
How often are we going to see, someone in another role apart from the specialty of a certain character outperform them in that field?
Yeah.
I don't think I remember that happening ever in here, in this series. Maybe it has.
I think maybe just Chrome, right? Like he's kind of having these outside the box ideas. Yeah. But like this is like the light bulb equivalent for Kaseki here, right? Like look on page 5, even Joel is saying like, if my skills can't pull it off, then no one in the world can do it. And then meanwhile, here's Kaseki fucking doing it.
Yes! So good.
Good feats. Those are good feats to have.
Yeah. For sure.
And I like how, so, hold on, what was I going to say? Right, so, okay. So this situation is crazy because we know that everything was like perfect. Everything was ready to go. And then Suika and Francois go do this thing. And obviously you have to create that tension. You know what I mean? You can't have things go perfectly for the main squad at all times. But like when in these kind of moments, it's like, oh God damn it, not now. Not now, you know what I mean? Any other time, but now, you know what I mean? Like, God, this shit just got so butt clenchy so quick with the end of this chapter. After so much wholesome, like this was Kaseki's chapter, man, and now I gotta bite my nails by the end of it when I was just trying to go hard for the boy.
Right, and this is escalating quickly. Fucking Suika climbs a tree, does a little looking out, and all of a sudden, boom, they're here right now. And I love like as they're kind of helping this girl, I forget her name, the one who got bit by the spider or whatever.
Right.
Zeno is like, y'all are too soft. Like my guys are gonna come in here. They got no qualms about killing people. They're gonna kill all of y'all if that's what it takes to win. And you guys are a bunch of softies. And then he has this great quote like, your weakness is like fragile cleavage planes on this like 1819 to the end, and Senku's face in response, he is so serious, like pissed off, like, dude, we're gonna beat your ass and be good about it.
Yeah, look at that eye.
Yeah.
Look at that eye on page 16. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Woo! Senku looks at you like that. And then another serious Senku look on the last double spread too. It's just like, man, Senku is not playing. Okay, so their plan to hit everyone with the Petri beam while, a couple people are, off to the side or whatever. So obviously with the events at the end of the chapter, we can assume that it's not going to go that way at all. Right. But I was thinking about it like, if this like, okay, so if their plan was to turn everyone to stone with Suika and Francois hiding, then like, aren't Stanley's military and like Zeno's people bright enough to kind of like leave people back too? You know what I mean? Like, are they really going to send in the whole camp at once? You know what I mean? Like, doesn't someone need to chill on the boat? You know what I'm saying? And if motherfuckers don't come back after a certain time, that motherfucker's going to go looking for them. You know what I mean? And then sure, by then Suika could have just revived everyone. But it makes me think like, if this plan is going to go this way, you know what I mean? And everyone is going to get petrified. It makes sense that right after that, you'd be like, all right, time to go revive everyone. And Stanley's got people like, nope, we're here too still. You know what I'm saying? Like, we held back too. So like, that could be like, what is that confrontation going to look like if that's the case? Obviously, we can assume that since they have hostages now, that, that plan is kind of like, over with to a certain degree. But
for sure.
It's just like, man, it's like once I think I know how this shit's going to go, it's like,
switch up.
Yeah, switch up.
I could totally imagine the squad in this base having a backup plan kind of thing, right? Like, say how Chrome was thinking earlier, like, we should have on a timer something that, rinses us with the revival fluid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like they can't build that for one in a room in the base, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, we're about to fucking pull it. You know what I mean? Everyone in like a 1 mile radius is going to get petrified. All right, well, I'm just going to put this jar here, and in like 5 minutes, it's just going to tip over and revive me.
Right.
So they could like maybe try and revive literally everyone in the event that, say, they took hostages and brought the hostages with them to the base, meaning you couldn't do that area of effect attack.
Yeah.
But maybe they will have like some sort of science backup plan at the base or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking that everyone gets petrified, you know, except for like Stanley and Suika, and then like Senku and Zeno. Those are going to be the 4 that like aren't petrified, and there's going to be like a crazy hostage switch negotiation mind battle or something like that, you know, while everyone is petrified is kind of how I'm thinking that could
I can totally
go.
see that. I can totally see that.
Oh my god, look at this drawing on page 14. Okay, so so like when this scene was happening and the spider pulls up on the leaf, is that the spider's dialogue afterwards? The heck is that smell? Are there army ants around? Question mark. And then he turns around and runs away. Yikes, I better make myself scarce. That's the spider saying that?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh, and then it flashes back to flashes back to when they made like the ammonia whatever for the
army ants like alcohol.
Yes. Oh my god, I completely forgot about that. Okay, so that's so good. So then this spider jumps on this lady. And she's like, oh! And then she's like, I thought she got hit by something. Look at her on this page. Like, she looks like she got, like, punched in her jaw or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, her body is, like, way too contorted. And, like, for a spider bite, like, I don't, like...
But that's what they're saying on page 15. Like, if venom is causing a fit of spasms.
Oh, okay. So I thought,
like it's so it's like, you know, neurovenom or neurotoxin, right? Like fucking up your nervous system, making you twitch and spasm and shit.
So she got bit, then time passed, and now she's starting to convulse or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought this was the act of her getting bit, and I was like, this is a little extra for getting bit by... I thought you just go like, son of a bitch, you know what I mean? And then start... you know, or whatever, you know, but like I thought she was literally getting bit and twisting around like this at the same time. And I was like, that's a little much. But yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. Wow, Suika goes in, zoop, zoop, you get this amazing panel of like the vein with all the blood vessels and shit. That's fucking awesome. Gasp awake. This is cool. Like this is a really
nitroglycerin.
Cool scene. Yeah,
I can't believe you can even use nitroglycerin like this. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. That's so crazy.
Cool. Dr. Stone just does that though. It's so like I'm not even a science nerd, but it makes me wish I was a science nerd.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I wish I kind of knew this already. Like this is kind of cool. Like how you could do all of this stuff and switch all of this up and like it's so awesome. It's
there
just
was
so in that fashion.
Yeah, and just like I was just watching the Joe Rogan podcast the other day, the episode that he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on there, and Joe Rogan was talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was like, dude, I think what like the biggest thing for you is that you make science cool. Like you make it seem interesting. You know what I mean? It's not just, you know, you're not a professor that walks in, you know, hungover, hates his life, hates his job, teaching, you know, astrophysics to kids because you have to. You know what I mean? You make this awesome. You know what I mean? And it's people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's people like Riichiro, you know, and Boichi that, you know, care about this stuff, realize there aren't enough scientists, and the reason why is because this shit feels like a job learning it. You know what I mean? But if you can set it up like this, like the way that Neil deGrasse Tyson does it, the way Riichiro and Boichi do it with their physics, you know, advisors and whatnot. It's like, this is the kind of stuff that makes me really excited for how this story will like impact, you know, people 5-10 years from now. Are we going to see a huge influx of rocket scientists? Are we going to see a huge, like, are people actually going to start caring about the planet more? You know what I mean? Obviously Neil deGrasse Tyson, things like Dr. Stone. I don't know if there's any other like really cool science related. Bill Nye was one of them back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, if we start getting all of these things happening at the same time, then like we could start seeing some like really cool things in the near future. So I appreciate things like Dr. Stone so much for shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's unique. I love it.
It's so unique. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I just love how such a unique story that you don't think would be in this magazine made it to the magazine, and it has such a big platform to tell a story like this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention before we finish off with Dr. Stone. I think it's super interesting going back to Kaseki, right? That like he's the one who kind of realizes what's happening after Chrome is like, oh yeah, like something about these diamonds are like solid as hell, right? Like it's interesting. But the ones that are in like the Medusas crack really easily.
Yes, dude.
And then he's like, damn, like here's like a gem maker, right? Like a scientist necessarily maybe wouldn't make this jump so quickly, but like someone like Kaseki who he's an artisan, right? Like he builds things, including gems. Like he doesn't have to make little tiny baby gems, but I'm sure he's made like a fancy gem for like the king or whatever, like the chief of their village or whatever, right? So like he knows about gem making, but he's like, damn, like we always make gems to be perfect and like hard, right? You want jewelry to like break when you knock it against something.
Right, you want it to last.
Exactly. But he's like, oh damn, and then like to flip it around completely, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
and say, no, this needs to have imperfections in order to work. Now my question is, what is it about those imperfections that makes this work then?
I think it's like a wire, like a circuit, you know what I mean? Like there's a pathway through the gem to send energy or whatever. Where normally it's just
where
a rock,
it's solid,
it
can't travel through it. It just has to travel around it, and maybe that's not why it works. With these blemishes, you have stop it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
I like that.
I love that.
That's raw.
All right, let's fucking go. I'm so excited. Okay, so, man, how much longer is Dr. Stone gonna be?
I think it might be a long time, dude. Like, but it's interesting. It's interesting to think about because, like, the current bad guys, right?
Yeah.
You'd think this is the final battle.
Yeah.
Like at this scene, right? Like if they can defeat Stanley's gang, then they have them under complete control. They take the boat. They could take the boat back to Corn City, take them over easily. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or they could just leave Corn City alone and keep going in their merry way,
right,
to the next cities around the planet to make these big cities to make the materials for a spaceship. But who would be the bad guys?
Right, exactly.
Those later cities?
That's my whole thing. Is that like what obstacle do you give Senku after Zeno? Another physical threat?
Right.
Okay, we already did that in Stone Wars, so it's like, you know, what like we have the raw physical threat inside of Tsukasa Shishio, then we have the Medusa threat in the Medusa arc. Now we have the raw intellectual threat, equal whatever inside of Dr. Zeno. What obstacle do you give Senku after that doesn't make the story redundant? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I'm asking how much longer is this going to be, because they beat Zeno, and then what do they just montage do we get an entire arc dedicated to just exploration and rebuilding things? Because that would be fucking sick. But like there needs to be conflict though, otherwise people are going to be like, what's going on here? But what other conflicts? I could see it being very you don't have to up the ante, but you could give a new threat that's not as threatening as any of the ones before, but still new in the form of like managing so many new people now that you've started to revive so many people. You know what I mean? So
internal conflicts and that kind of stuff.
Economics, you know what I mean? Politics, you know what I mean?
Maybe some mini Civil War type issues, some differentiate, you know what I'm saying? They don't agree anymore. You saw certain like stuff like that could go.
Right. But then it's like, okay, so if you revive everyone, and then you and that should be, you've revived everyone, you've brought civilization back to a relatively modern state, you know what I mean? And then that should be the end, because if that's not the end, and then you start showing, real life, issues and conflicts inside of diplomacy and inside of economics and inside of politics, then that can just go on forever. What's the final resolution once you start doing things like that Senku wins at the end for? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I feel like after this, they go to the moon, they come back, we maybe montage the rebuilding of society and depetrifying everyone, and then I feel like that's got to be it. You know what I mean?
Maybe it opens up like a Dr. Stone Part 2. It's called Dr. Something Else. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Steel.
Hey, Dr. Steel, let's go.
Different,
Yo, I love that. Oh my god, what a cool combo. Do you guys have anything else?
No, that's all I had.
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Getting into Mashle, Magic and Muscles, Chapter 50, Mash Burn Dead and the Protein Shakeup. All right, couple things. This cover is beautiful.
Yo,
I feel like Mashle gets the most color covers out of anything.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like why do I feel like there's one like every other chapter or something? Ooh.
He always looks good though every time.
He always looks like a GQ model. It looks like a GQ cover every time.
Yep.
I feel feel like the Mashle art in general just is slept on.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like the way it's not something that's like always super poppy and it's not super bland. It has like this like mix where you don't feel like they're doing too much, but then it still feels unique.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's really cool. I love how they do it.
Yeah, it's very high contrast art. You know what I mean? You got very stark blacks against very stark whites with very little shading. Unless it's a high detail image, then you get all of the shading and literally every illustration technique under the sun. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think the reason why the art is slept on is because it is a comedy. You know what I mean? So you get a lot of blank expressions, funny blank expressions. You get a lot of, you know, like you get a lot of shit like top of page 5. You know what I mean? So you know, so like when you get all this shit like all the time, it's probably really easy to miss really cool illustration feats. You know what I mean? Like in the series, obviously you see the drastic ones like black partisan double spreads. You won't forget those. Right. But like just look at the backgrounds that we get on this page 6, top of page 6. You know what I mean? And I understand that's probably like digital. You know what I mean? Sure. But I mean, like,
look at the background on top of page 2 behind this balloon, the clouds and shit. Like those look like clouds.
Yeah, all of that shit. It's just like there's so much effort, you know, put into every panel, despite how low detail they are. You know what I mean? Like it's just so much. It's like, oh, I already used this, you know, this design on this background. You know what I mean? You could easily just do it again, but I mean, like, you just don't, you know? So it's like there's just so much forethought, you know, in the composition of the comic that it's like, how could you not praise the art? But yes, it is very easy for it to fly under the radar because there are so many funny faces, I think. But
exactly, and you got to do the funny faces well to make it funny.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
The funny faces are done right to where, like, yes, I laugh. And that's what I enjoy out this comedy for. Was like, yes, I get my laughs out of Mashle.
Yeah.
And that's
and see, Mashle is one that makes me like physically actually laugh out loud. There's a lot of manga that I read, and there's a lot of television shows that I watch, like Futurama. Futurama's a brilliant show. Funny as hell. You know what I mean? Really creative comedy. You know what I mean? But like, I never laugh at it. Like, something funny happens in Futurama, and I'm sure other people do, but I'm just saying that this is my personal example is that I'll be watching Futurama, and then a joke will happen. I'll be like, that's fucking brilliant. But in my head, I'll be like, that's hilarious. But then like nothing right here, like no physical reaction. And like that's how it is for like a lot of things for me. But Mashle is one of the few manga that actually has me go like, ha! You know what I mean? Like nothing, I can't even control it. It'll just jump out. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it for that, because there's a lot of things that I think are really funny that I don't physically react to.
For sure.
I love how getting into the actual chapter now. Yeah. I love how it shows everyone deal with the balloon in their different ways. I love how Lance deals with it. Send it up, send it down. Beautiful. Love that. You know what I mean? And then obviously, you know, Doubt just explodes it. And you know, but yeah. And oh my god, look at the art on the popping of the balloon.
Right.
On fucking page 3.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Expanding out.
It looks like vector art. You know what I mean? Oh, really so good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And speaking of the funny, like even them sitting there going hip hip.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And I love how we get the scene with Mash and what's Buddy with the boop boop?
Max Land.
So we got Mash with Max Land. And this
dude really wants to be the guy. He seems like a good guy, and he's really trying to.
He did seem like a good guy, and then I turned the page onto page 8, and then he's like, "Mash, let me prove myself. Call it my selfish desire to help people like you. So don't worry." And then Mash is like, "Oh, bet." And then it shows him no eyes. You know what I mean? And when I saw that, I was like, "Hold on, what's bro on right now?" You know what I mean? I was like, "Wait a minute!" But then right after that, it goes back to like a really jolly face. I'm your senior in school. Your job as my junior is to help me keep my honor. I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, something's up with dude, you know. And then Mash reacts with the ellipses, and then the K, and then the thank you, and then runs away. And it made me think that Mash was onto him. You know what I mean? It made me think like, okay, you're being cool right now, but I know you're up to something. So I was like, all right, this motherfucker's about to be on some dastardly shit eventually. But then all of a sudden, here comes Buddy. You know what I mean? Who just whoops him, you know what I mean? And he could still be bad. Like, he could still be a bad guy. But, like, him just getting stepped on and thrown in front of Mash kind of subverted that expectation that he was going to be, like a shady backdoor type dude, you know what I mean? Right. So I don't know, but I like that uncertainty is the point that I'm making here.
For sure.
But I kind of feel like it started leaning toward he was more good, like with the inner dialogue where he's like, say, Rain, did I do my best for the younger students?
Yeah. Exactly.
So that kind of has me like, I think he really is just trying to be that senpai. You know what I'm saying?
And I agree with that. I was just saying initially when I was first going through it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this panel, this panel with no eyes. I was like, this is so
totally
sus.
I totally agree that it looks sus, right? It looks like he's like, haha, heh, you know what I mean? But like, it could be just a weird way of drawing the kind of like, wow, your Mash's ... to the right of that.
Yeah.
He's like saying like, wow, that really hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I'm literally trying to like offer my, olive branch. I'm trying to help you out here, and you're just like
reacting,
and you're not taking it. And it's like, God damn it! Like, all right, this is just me. I'm just this normal ass Max Land.
Yeah, I like that.
Let me double down on. I'm the senpai here, man. Like, try to give me some honor here. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, help me out here.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's really good. And I like how it's rehashing the relationships at hand. Obviously, this dude knows Rain. Rain vouches for Mash. Rain is someone that I expected wouldn't really fuck with. I expected people in the upper echelon of strength inside of these schools to just all not fuck with Mash. But for you to have someone who's so high ranking be on Mash's team so hard, it creates this really cool feeling that even though everyone is out to get Mash, he's got real shooters on his team. Obviously, he's fine by himself, but that drama, you know what I mean, is really cool to see in such a gaggy story. You know what I mean? Like, this is really deep character. I can see that this is setting up really deep character relationships, you know what I mean, potentially.
And I think that's what makes the comedy hit harder.
Yes.
I think that's what really, like when you see these characters that you do understand, you do know, you do get, and then they do this funny stuff, you're like, oh my God, you guys are hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You fall in love with them.
Yes, the more you know them, the harder the comedy hits.
Exactly. It gives you that kind of slice of life, but you're not getting slice of life moments. You're getting real student political drama.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's making you fall in love with the characters to love their funny moments. And that's a very unique way of doing a comedy moment.
It is. It is. That's a great point, dude. Wow.
Love that.
So Capriccio Luo Yang of Orca, huh?
Looks wrong.
Have we seen this dude already?
I mean, he was introduced a couple chapters ago.
When it flashed all of the participants, but we hadn't seen him before that. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We didn't really know who he was or anything like that. Like, we didn't know what he was on, and now we know.
Look at dude's design. This dude looks cool.
He's so sick.
So his line design, right?
What is that?
I don't know, because he cut Buddy. He looked like he slashed Buddy on page 10. Cut him.
Sure.
You didn't see what the magic was or whatever. And then, he squares up. The next time you see him, he's fucked up. But he doesn't look like he's been slashed up. He looks like he's been beaten.
Literally.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like
some type of internal damage type of deal?
Or this would be tight. This could be introducing raw magic application to where yes, everyone has an affinity, lightning, fire, music, but also you can just hit people with raw magic. You know what I mean?
I think we were kind of hinting at this last time, or a couple of chapters ago, when we were saying that maybe this dude's line is like a magic cane, right? Like a staff. And that's why it would be maybe magic generally, right?
Yeah.
I think. But
he could still have he could still have an attunement to a specific kind of magic, but he's just so strong that he doesn't even need to use it. I don't even need to use my. I can just hit you with raw magic and just beat you. You know what I mean? Just with regular shit, you know what I mean?
That'd
base
so
level
cool.
shit. Yeah, that'd be so cool, because then it's what does that mean for the strategy? Because it's up until now it's my magic versus your magic, and my kind of magic versus your kind of magic, and how they interact. But if you add an element of just base level magic of offense and defense that's not related to your affinity, then there's a lot of ways that you can make that tight. Obviously, there's ways that can go wrong too, but I would like to assume that Komoto knows what he's doing here. So, but if this is if this is an actual thing that's going to be happening in Mashle, I don't even know, besides Magi, another magic story with 2 energy systems. You know, and I'm not necessarily saying that this is 2 energy systems, but just this deep You know, like you can like like this divide, like, you know, like this line between affinity magic, elemental, whatever, and then just raw, you know, output.
Sure.
I don't think I've ever seen that in anything. You
know? Me either. I haven't caught that before either.
Yeah.
I think the closest thing I've seen to that is JJK, where like the curse room through the raw energy, but it wasn't a technique.
Oh, sure.
This is the last time I've even seen anything like that.
And then you also have Hunter x Hunter, where you have your Hatsu, but then you can also just be cold with, you know, Shu and Gyo and Ko and shit like that. So I mean, like, you can be tight with, you know, before you even use your Hatsu in Jujutsu Kaisen or in Hunter. But I mean, like, I'm talking about like tried and true magic stories. You know,
literally,
what I mean? Actual magic stories. You know, I feel like you just don't really see this, but
very true.
Yeah. If that's the case, once again, this is an assumption that this is happening. So this is not. I just wanted to reiterate that. But oh my god, okay, the protein shake scene.
Yo, this is so hilarious. This scene.
So when I read the title of the chapter, I thought that protein shake up was gonna be Mash grabbing a dude and bear hugging him and just like shaking him up and then like body slamming him or some shit. Right. But no, it's an actual protein shake. Okay, so I'm confused. So this dude is standing here with Mash, just them two, on page 18. The next panel, this woman comes out, pulls a book out of dude's arm, and dude is now holding a chalice. Everyone is like, what the hell is going on? He goes to try to splash this water on Mash, and then Mash does his thing. But I'm like, what is going on leading up to this?
So if you go back a little bit earlier, to say page, I was just there, page 13. This lady is going around to everyone, giving them drinks and snacks, right? Or just drinks, I guess. So he's going to that lady who has this drink already and using it and taking it and walking over to Mash and just throwing it right in his face.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And fails utterly.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I see what's going on.
All right. I totally understand what happened now. That was so confusing. I did not remember that setup for that inside. It's a very tiny panel on page 13.
Yes.
You know, so thank you for that.
Yeah, I missed it a little bit too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But you just like judo move, like, or like aikido, just like I'm gonna redirect your water in, and I'm gonna put my protein shake next to it, and this is gonna go right into my cup. Oh, thank you very much. That was very kind of you.
Yeah, and then his monologue here. Sorry, it's 3 p.m. You know, which is like when I take my homemade special muscle drink. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then. Not to stop you, but with this protein, or no. He said the secret is powdered beans. They're rich in protein. Not to stop you, but with this protein, it's important you stick to a schedule. Also, you're calling people weaklings, but I've never met anyone stronger than me. Whoa! The tightest Mash panel. The tightest Mash panel. Period.
With the little shake on his mouth.
Yes.
No, but it's hilarious. He's looking ready for it. I love it.
That is my favorite Mash moment.
I need to see Mash obliterate this dude, just smash him to bits. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, ooh.
What an amazing quote at the end of the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And dude doesn't even get a response off. It's just 3 dots, and he's just staring at him.
Yeah, like, and I like how Mashle does that. You know what I mean? You have very confident characters that you know Mash is just gonna body slam, but they're not like off the wall ridiculous before they get body slammed like in One Punch Man. You know what I mean? You have One Punch Man, it's like, I'm the pollution monster. You guys have been polluting the oceans and the forests. Well, now I am the incarnation of Earth's anger towards you, and I'm the strongest thing that anyone has ever seen. And Saitama's just like, hey man, I'm gonna knock you out. And it's like, oh no, you can't knock me out. And then huge villain monologue before they get punched. These characters are just like, like they are totally confident without having to say anything. They're just cool. You know what I mean? And I like that, you know.
Hell yeah.
And it just makes when they get stomped even funnier.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I really couldn't do nothing. Like,
I was trying to cool guy it. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to not say shit. Hit you with the ellipses, like, oh, where? Oh, now look at you.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Oh, funny as hell, bro. So as far as this dude's dialogue here, I don't need weaklings. Weaklings are useless, so it shouldn't matter what I do to them. This is a outlook that I personally think is played out. Inside of fiction, like survival of the fittest stuff. It's like, I read X-Men, dude. That's like been Apocalypse's thing since fucking 91. You know what I mean? So it's like it, and you just see it I feel like this is such a common, you know, outlook for an antagonist to have. So I feel like I feel like will this character like I'm waiting for long lasting villains in Mashle.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm waiting for like really long lasting, powerful characters that actually because Margaret, you know, you never really know. Like obviously Margaret is kind of being set up to be an antagonist, but you never like with that character like that,
right?
You never know where they could go eventually. This dude just seems like an asshole through and through. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm looking for you know, big antagonist in MASH, and when you introduce this character who's supposed to be a big deal, he's obviously very strong. He one-shotted this dude. He's a new guy. He's very badass looking. He's very confident about himself. And then to give him the survival of the fittest mindset, it's like, okay, well, this dude is just going to get one-shotted too, like everybody else. Like, where is the overarching villain? Like, we're on I know it's Innocent Zero, but I mean, like,
right. I was just gonna say, that like in terms of any of the characters in this tournament, I don't think these are the major villains you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like this dude's from Orchidorm. Like, yes, he's a douchebag, perhaps. Yes, he has some survival of the fittest opinions, but at the end of the day, presumably he's a good guy. You know, maybe not a good guy, like a great guy, but like not a villain, right? Right. He's just a douchebag. Where like. I think the major villains of the series you would assume is like Innocent Zero, but I guess the fact that like MASH, right, is like has no magic, the entire society is against him. Anyone could be MASH's long-term villain,
right? And I know that Innocent Zero is there, but I mean, like I feel like there should be established antagonists. You know what I mean? That last. You know, leading into Innocent Zero. You know what I mean? Because obviously Innocent Zero, until we get information otherwise, we can assume right now is probably like an end game situation to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Obviously that can change and Innocent Zero can get beat and then a new main villain shows up or whatever, but for right now, like that's the guy. You know what I mean? And when are we going to see like real Innocent Zero conflict? In the meantime, is it just going to be like we're at chapter 50 now, you know what I mean? We've had Abel, we've had Abyss Razor, who's the lackey of Abel, and they both got whooped. You know what I mean? Like that was like that's not long lasting. Like that was essentially the arc they were introduced. You know what I mean? So it's like, when are we going to get either a student antagonist that's long lasting, or an outside of the school antagonist that's long lasting besides Innocent Zero? You know what I mean? That's what I'm wondering. So when I see characters like this, who's obviously being introduced as very antagonistic. You know what I mean? It makes me excited that, we could see, you know, a real school rival here or something like that. And then it's just survival of the fittest. And I just think that motivation is kind of trite. Yeah. But I'm
hoping he loses and then like just gets more angry and like develop something more after losing. After seeing that survival of the fittest, that's where I hope it has to go. So it doesn't feel like you just said that same thing over.
I'm just wondering how long, and I'm sure Komoto knows what he's doing, obviously, but I'm just sitting here going like, how long is the, you know, tough guy introduced and then just body slammed by MASH going to last? You know what I mean? And we've had things more than that. Obviously, Abyss Razor was a bigger fight, Abel was a bigger fight or whatever, but still, like I want something a little more longer lasting. But either way.
Understandable.
But wait, did you guys have anything else for MASH?
No, it's about all I had.
I think I'm good. Yeah,
I think I'm good too. This was an amazing chapter, dude. That last,
just fun.
I haven't felt like the only time I feel really hype with like the main character delivering a super badass line of dialogue in the last page of the chapter. The only time I ever get hype like this is in like One Piece. You know what I mean? So it's like, because One Piece does that a lot too. You know what I mean? Like a super loud, badass declaration at the very on the very last page of the chapter. But like, and that happens in a lot of manga. You know what I mean? But like this right here reminds me of the hype I feel whenever Luffy says I'm going to be the Pirate King at the end of a chapter. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But yeah, great combo, guys. Great.
Per usual, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, getting into Black Clover, chapter 282, Black Guardian. How do we feel?
Very hype chapter.
Very hype.
Especially the end stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the art of the damage on the demon. Once Asta like really starts cleaving into him. I think that like this, and I'm not even going to say makes up for the art from last chapter, because like I don't know all of the circumstances involved in it. I'm sure it was just a time thing. You know what I mean? But seeing this after that, you know, is like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like this double spread on 14 and 15 is probably the best double spread I've seen in Black Clover, period.
Yep.
It's fantastic. I actually really like, I think I might like better. It's not as big of a double spread, but the 16, 17, like that one,
the
right?
Back
like
view.
It's so detailed.
Yeah.
It's so detailed. It looks so good.
And when you look at the shading technique compared to the page before, you have, obviously it looks like it's the same technique but just farther away, but like the line work on the demon close up on 14 and 15 is very the line work is, you know, very sketchy, you know what I mean, but there's a lot of white in between those lines, probably because it's so close up. But then the zoomed out panel, you know, it's the exact same kind of design, obviously, but like it's just like so much more sketchier. The shading is denser, the cross hatching and like all of that stuff just looks better on the demon farther away. I totally agree.
Sure. But I mean, the close up one looks very bold, very crisp. I mean, like the line work's very good. It looks great. It's just like just the idea of Asta doing this, right? Like going up and just like doing the one shot slash, just like cleaving this dude in two. Oh my god, so sick.
Yeah,
so sick.
So I had this question in the Discord and on Twitter, essentially, because I know that Black Clover, you know, has a situation to where anti-magic is a hard counter to magic unless there's enough of the magic to where the anti-magic doesn't hard counter it anymore or whatever. There's like a volume or density issue that means that Asta needs to have more anti-magic in a certain situation than he does at base in order to deal with something, which I don't necessarily agree with. But my question here is, he has Black Divider, right? So like now taking that like volume or density of magic like part like away, my question that I asked before it was answered in the Discord was like, why does he need Devil Union to deal with this? You know what I mean? Because like it already says the ancient demon is an enormous mass of supercharged magic. It repels all spells in existence and uses primitive repetitive attacks to crush down and mow down everything. However, for that very reason, it has no way to block anti-magic attacks. So if it has no way to block anti-magic attacks already, why would Asta use Devil Union to fight it when it has such a short time limit?
Right.
Like, was he just trying to like flex in front of everyone and show that a demon is saving the country? Or a devil? That would be the only reason I can see him going out of his way to use his, like, okay, here's another question. So if this thing only lasts 5 minutes, like, what's the cooldown time on that?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big question, because it's like, if he's like, all right, I only got 5 minutes, and then goes into Devil Union, slashes this dude up in 30 seconds, does he have 4 minutes and 30 seconds left? Obviously, but can he come out of Devil Union and then go back in right after with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left? You know, so it's like, or is he just going to stay in Devil Union for the rest of the arc, and the rest of the arc is 5 minutes long? You know, or like the cooldown time is going to be huge here. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to give it 5 minutes, then that probably means that the cooldown time is at least 3 times that. You know what I mean? I would want to say, because I mean, it would be weird to say I only got this for 5 minutes just for you to use up the 5 minutes and then jump right back into it a minute later. You know what I mean? So yeah, so it's like, this is very confusing to me. You know what I mean?
So let's go back to the first question. Like, why would you need the Devil Union to cut up this?
Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
This devil.
Demon, why would you need the Devil Union? Right.
So when Mario Leona fought the other demon, that thing regenerates, right? This thing must also regenerate. You need to have a huge slash to just cut it in half. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Black Divider could do that. Black Divider went up to the fucking clouds when it was first shown.
I mean, the sun,
I don't know if it was the clouds. It could have just been like dust from like the conflict. I pulled up someone dropped the page, I think, in Discord, and I like looked at it, or someone
like 7. You're paying page 7 top panel or whatever.
No. So Black Divider, like when we first came out of the time skip. When we first came out of the time skip, the very first thing Asta did was fight that random spade dude, and then he showed Black Divider, and it was this skyscraper length version of Demon Slayer. You know what I mean? And it was huge. You know, so like my situation here is like, okay, we know that the devil or the demon doesn't have a way to block anti-magic attacks. We know that Asta has a giant sword inside of Black Divider already.
Mm-hmm.
So if he just needed the Devil Union to give him more reach, then like I feel like Black Divider already gives him that reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you know,
That's
and
fair.
and if you're not going to show Black Divider failing ever,
Mm-hmm.
like did we ever get a panel where Black Divider wasn't enough? You know what I mean?
Not that
Did
I
we get a
know of.
line of dialogue where Asta goes, "This isn't enough. I need to get like my sword's not big enough. I need to go into Devil Union." Like we don't get any dialogue like that. It's like why?
No.
Like why? I feel like that kind of invalidates Black Divider as a power up coming out of the time skip, because it's like, unless I'm missing something, I don't know why you don't just use Black Divider here and save your transformation for, I don't know, maybe the final fight or something.
Yeah.
You
This is
only
gonna
get
sound
5
bad.
minutes.
I do not remember Black Divider at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, it didn't look that much bigger than the sword that he gets in Devil Union. So it's like I'm just so
Yeah.
Confused.
yeah. But either way,
Yeah, I don't have an answer.
yeah, I don't,
Right.
and I'm sure the comments will
Yeah.
we'll go crazy.
Yeah.
On,
Definitely
this
let
point.
us know in the
Please
comments
let
for
us know in
sure.
the comment, because as much as I sound like I'm like this is dumb, I don't get it. I very much so do just want to get it. I don't really have the time to reread Black Clover like I reread everything else. So the comments that we get from people, you know, filling in those gaps, and
Yeah, those are helpful,
reminding me of things like I really like. We really appreciate those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely do not hold those back. But
So what was the other question?
The other question-
cooldown timer.
yeah, the other question is like why, if you know that there's a cooldown on this, or if you know that there's a 5-minute time limit, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like that cooldown after the 5 minutes is up has to be drastic, because
Insane.
Yes.
yeah, you know what I mean? And so if that's the case, why are you using your shit right now? You have other fights after this. So like, is he, which was my question, is he going to kill
Right.
this and then jump out of Devil Union? And then is he going to be able to jump right back into Devil Union because he didn't use up the whole 5 minutes? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's very,
I
very
assume
weird.
I assume that particular rule will be very
Yes.
much hashed out next chapter, and I'm
Absolutely.
not too worried about it.
Mhm.
I assume from the end of this chapter, the very last panel,
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, let's head for the Spade Kingdom. I assume that means he's going to stay in Devil Union form to be faster,
Sure.
I guess,
Yeah.
and just fly over there as quickly as possible. Or maybe, since we got the boy here, is this Guy Madello or whatever?
Yeah.
Maybe he can just take him straight there through Shadow or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'm not too worried about the cooldown timer
Yeah.
issue. I assume, like, you're 100% correct generally. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have a cooldown timer, or rather if you have you say the ability only lasts 5 minutes, that means you can't just turn it on again after 5 minutes. Otherwise, that doesn't mean anything, right?
Right,
So
right,
like,
right.
certainly there will be a time period where he can't use it
Yeah.
after that 5 minutes. It's crazy. You do raise a very good strategic point, right? Like,
Yeah.
knowing that you have to beat all these devils
Yeah.
back in Spade Kingdom,
Yeah.
why are you doing this now? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, he expects he's going to surpass his limits.
Oh no!
No.
Stop.
You know, that's what they do in Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, he's not too worried about it. You know,
Yeah.
he got it. Alistair has the determination. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah,
He has
sure.
the determination. He's gonna take it
There's-
down no matter what.
There's only one way. I mean, obviously, as you train, right, you're going to bump up this timer from
Yeah.
5 minutes to more than 5 minutes, and there's only one way to do that. Guts. You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
just fucking say no. It's
Yeah.
actually going to be 6 minutes because it needs to be. Otherwise,
Exactly.
I'm dead and I'm not
Yeah.
going to die. So
Exactly.
well, we'll see. We'll see.
Now that I think about it, I think I like the idea more that Asta went into Devil Union this quickly because this demon is in view of everyone. You know what I mean? And
Right,
Damnatio is there. Everyone that said get the hell out of Clover Kingdom because you're a devil and devils just did all this. We don't like you.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And now a demon is attacking. You guys can't stop it. I'm the one that stops it, and I'm unioned with the fucking devil. So now what, bros?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's
And they can tell
totally-
from a distance. They comment
Yeah.
on that it's a devil.
Right. And oh my god, that panel is amazing too. The one that on page 8 with Asta's devil projection over it.
So sick.
So fucking sick.
It
But
was.
yeah, everyone here is like, yo, we doubted you. We blew it. Here you are saving our asses. You're the fucking man, dude. Like, this is everything. Like, this is literally like a moment that I personally have been waiting for Yes. In Black Clover, just group acknowledgement of Asta saving everyone who can't save themselves, and then you add on top of it, he's in devil form when you literally just shunned him for being a devil. Oh yeah, this is amazing right now.
I love that.
I think that's right now. Yeah, I think that's cool. But you're still dumb for using your 5 fucking minutes right now.
Right, exactly.
Just to flex.
Maybe they'll comment on it. Maybe they'll comment on it.
Yeah. I hope someone like Noct just muffs this kid when he sees him. Like, what are you doing? You have to fight other dudes. like I understand that demon was going crazy, sure, you know what I mean, but I just want maybe some acknowledgement there. You know,
hopefully we get to see Noct.
Yeah. I think this is looking pretty grim for Buddy. I'm not gonna cap, but I think
he might not live the chapter, but I assume he's alive when we get there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that'd be drastic if he was dead when we get there. What the fuck?
That would cool. That'd be something.
That would be, honestly, if you're gonna kill a character, Tabata, I feel like Noct is the one because obviously you're too scared to kill anybody else. So just kill this guy, because it's like we love him. We fuck with him, but we're not we're not so invested that you're scared to kill him like you are with everybody else. You know what I mean? So it's like, do it. You know what I mean? If you want to kill someone, kill Noct. You know what I mean? Because that's gonna hit. Because everyone, like, Noct is flavor of the fucking month, year. I don't fucking know, but everyone loves Noct right now. You know what I mean? And I think that would be the move. But God, I can't get over how fucking good Asta looks in this chapter doing anything. Sorry. I'm like looking at the top of page 11 right now, and I'm like, this is such a fucking amazing panel of Asta coming down.
Yes. It's good you bring that up, because I want to ask about his form here, right? This like suit of armor he's got on. It looks I don't like
the design personally.
Yeah, it looks a little, I don't know, cheap. I don't know, but
looks like he was just dipped in fucking mud.
But it does look much more armory than say Dante, right? So here's my question: like, is this like just magic repelling armor? He's literally immune to magic in this form.
Please,
that would make a lot of sense, right? If you're anti-magic, you're covered in armor. It should maybe bounce it off, maybe make you completely immune, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that.
I'm thinking that. Yeah,
I would like that, because like my whole thing with Black Clover is like, you're going to make your main character the hard counter to everyone else he's going to encounter throughout the entire series. You better have a really good fucking idea on how you're going to creatively show this character in pinches and tight spots, because obviously you're not just going to have him one-shot everyone. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, him getting hit by magic doesn't like really make sense most of the time. So I'm sitting here, at least that's what I thought when I first, started the series. And then Tabata obviously did, show him in really creatively tight situations where, the magic just like wasn't hit, it was an AoE or something, and he couldn't, I mean, obviously you can probably just cut through that. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember the whole series, but there were some really cool ways that Tabata wrote Asta in really fucked up situations, despite him being the hard counter to everything. You know what I mean? Until they introduce this concept that magic potency, can be dense enough to not be countered by anti-magic, you know what I mean? Which I think is weird, and I don't need to say why again. But like, this whole armor idea that you have, that this armor is like deflective, like you can't even hit me with magic no more.
That'd be cool.
Like that's cool, but then it just comes back to like, okay, but dense enough magic can still get through it. You know what I mean? So it's so it's like I want to say that's cool, but like it's also cheap at the same time. But it's not cheap, because I know that Tabata is just going to say the magic is so dense that the armor doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know if I like it or don't. It's so weird with Black Clover.
It's a weird setup for Asta too, because it's like, does that mean EOS, his goal should be no magic ever touches him in his Devil Union form? Would that turn into the EOS goal for him? So then it kind of is like, okay, why wouldn't he be the magic? Wizard King. Yeah. It's like, it kind of makes you feel like the compelling story kind of gets leaned off a bit. You get worried about that type of stuff, but then it's like, you want to give him his coins, like you said, because now he's flexing this devil thing to everybody. And he has this new form, and he's gotten stronger. So it is a toss up. For sure.
It's like it could be. Like, it could be, I want to be hyped for Asta in this Devil Union form, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like it raises so many questions that I feel like contradict my understanding of the story so far. And obviously I'm not a Black Clover expert, far from it. But like, I just don't like feeling like that. It makes me like, man, should I reread this shit? But like, you know, but it's like, I always like fear that I'm going to spend so much time rereading Black Clover just to be like, oh, okay, that was there. I didn't really see that before. You know what I mean? But like nothing mind blowing is good. Like no mind blowing like information links are going to like, you know, go down like a reread on Jujutsu Kaisen or a reread on Hunter x Hunter or a reread on Undead Unluck. You're going to see wildly important shit or like extremely cool shit that you missed, you know, before every time you go back through those stories. But like Black Clover, I don't know. I've talked to people that said that they've reread Black Clover, you know what I mean? And they said like, you know, sure, I have a better understanding of like what's going on, but it's not like there were any holy shit, how did I miss this kind of like situations, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, now I'm sitting here going like, okay, how does anti-magic work exactly? And it's like, I need to fucking reread this. And it's like, God damn it.
Exactly.
You know? But
oh, man.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. But all in all, I fucking loved this chapter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't care for Asta's design. I think the Devil Union choice was weird, but the conversation obviously makes me feel better about it now. Like it always does, which is why I'm so thankful for this setting every week. But like, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm excited for the next chapter. I hope we get a lot of exposition explaining, you know, some things that I'm worried about, but we'll see.
Hell yeah.
I'm ready for where it'll go.
Yeah. Are you guys good though?
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm solid.
All right, cool. Okay. My Hero Academia, chapter 301, The Wrong Way to Put Out a Fire, part 1. And wow.
This chapter is immense for Endeavor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this chapter and the upcoming chapters is going to make or break, I think, a lot of Hero for me because, like, we've talked a lot on the show, right, about how does Endeavor even deserve redemption? Does he even deserve redemption, right? And it's interesting.
Both words on the table for Endeavor right now.
Right. But I do mean redemption. Mixing those up or whatever. It's hilarious. But like this is the foundation for where we start for building up. Can you redeem him or whatever? So it's very interesting.
I love this chapter for how much it shows how much Kohei put into this Todoroki family drama. Right? And obviously we know he's put a lot into it because we've seen a bunch of Todoroki family drama already. But like this stuff finally delving into Toya's character and his origin, his backstory, showing him in the Todoroki house finally. It shows that like Kohei was saving a lot of like man, like look at Raid, or I don't know who's telling him, but when we get the information where we find out that Dabi inherited Endeavor's fire quirk.
Yeah.
And but double the potency, or at least more potent than Endeavor's flames. But his body comes from Rei. And he doesn't have a body that was made to withstand high temperatures. He has a body that was made to withstand low temperatures. That's why he burns himself. Like that is everything. Like that is like when I read that, I was like, oh my God, yes. Like of course, like explanations like these, it's like, who would have fucking thought of that, dude? But it's so obvious once we get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. But it's funny because actually, to be honest, I actually used to talk about people whenever we had a theory, a good friend of mine, our theory was that was his situation. Even with Dabi, like before we even got the reveal, we always wanted to, like, we was like, okay, I really hope Dabi is Toya. You know, we was on that track. We were just sitting down, just like throwing out our headcanons, and we were like, yo, what if he just got his mom's body issue but had Endeavor's flame?
Yeah,
that was really our mindset.
That's got to be such a rare thing. I mean, I'm not in the My Hero Academia community like that. Maybe someone like Aniki thought of it or something like that. But like me reading it, I was just so blown away. I was like, I was like, man, like, and it's always so cool when it's obvious, but like you didn't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I love that because
I think the obvious one is, I think most people go for that Dabi has a hotter fire.
Right.
But they stop there, right? And you just think like, oh yeah, the hot fire is just too much for his body. But here we get, no, it's even worse than that, right? Like his body is actually weaker. It's like, oh, damn.
It's too hot for his body if it was normal. But on top of that, he has a body that's meant for cold temperatures instead of hot. It's just like, man, like that is crazy. And like seeing that Toya's life, like I love this chapter because of how much it shows the mistake that Endeavor made by wanting to go into quirk marriages and trying to force this situation. It's like, look what happened. You wanted the perfect kid and you literally got like the exact opposite situation of what you wanted.
Yep.
And this is the kid that wants to be a hero the most on his own in your household. You want Shoto to be a hero. You want Natsu to be your hero. You probably wanted your daughter to be a hero or something. But like Toya wants to be one himself, by himself, without the oppression of Endeavor. You know what I mean? So how does imagine that. It's like you're trying so hard to do this in such a shitty, backhanded way. You don't realize what you're doing in the moment because you're so taken over by your selfishness and your obsession to be All Might. And then you finally realize, like, holy shit, I fucked up. Like, when you like in that scene where he's holding Toya and he's crying, and it's like super detailed on page 14. You can see, or wait, on page 15, you can see on page 16, Endeavor is actually like, yo, this was a bad idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I love this chapter for that, because it's like, it's really just all of Endeavor's demons coming home to roost. Everything comes home to, all of the chickens come home to roost. You know what I mean? And
speaking of that demon, look at page 9. Look at the bottom of page 9. Endeavor looks like a fucking villain.
Yes.
He looks depraved. He looks obsessed, like hugely obsessed. Where he's like, this is the scene where he's doubling down, right? Where he's like, look, the doctor just told us that Toya, he can't be a hero, right? Like his quirk is just going to hurt his body, but I can't get him to stop. He keeps coming home burned. I can't get him to stop. But there's a way to do it. We can keep going. We can keep trying to make the perfect quirk baby, because if he sees someone who is obviously meant to be number one, then he'll back down. But it's like, no, dude, no,
you idiot.
No.
This is your fucking son. This isn't. These aren't two kids in class that don't, know each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sure, that might happen in school or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, these are your children.
Right.
You're an idiot for even thinking that this is going to go the way you thought.
In terms of fucking, Dabi here, I find Dabi to be an incredibly sympathetic character after this chapter, right? Like, Absolutely. Go to page 5, as he's like talking about how he's been burned so much from this fight. He's just so ready to see the suffering of Endeavor and the family or whatever. And like, take a look at me here in the depths of hell. And we get this beautiful like blood teardrop going from, that panel down into the Todoroki household or whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Like, ooh.
So like, fucking good. The paneling
later, like 14, 15, where Endeavor again is like, yo, you gotta like stop. Like, you can't be a hero. And then, but he's like, guess what, Dad? Like, everyone at school wants to be a hero, right? That's just what you do. But I can't imagine that, because I've got you for a father. Why would I want to be someone who puts their kid in my situation?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't even look at me at all. You don't even see me here. You just look past me to All Might, to Shoto, you know what I mean? Exactly. To this future kid. You're not looking at me at all. Like, you're a terrible person. It's like, damn.
I took that as the kids at school all say they want to be heroes. I can't understand that, because I've got you for a father. You're the number one hero to me. I have to be the number one hero. I can't just be a hero. I have to be number one, because you're my dad. That's how I took it. But I like the way you said it makes perfect sense too. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And this is where Kohei shines with his villains. He knows, like, this pathos that we get for Dabi in this chapter is like, this is Kohei's bread and butter with his villains, is knowing how to make them sympathetic despite all of the shitty things that they do. You know what I mean? Right. Obviously, we don't want Dabi to be like, he's a mass murderer. You know what I mean? He's terrible. He's shitty now. His circumstances were terrible. We feel bad for him. We got the pathos, but he's still a son of a bitch. You know what I mean? And like, when you look at like Jujutsu Kaisen and their villainous landscape, isn't really one that even needs pathos, because these are just characters that are evil just for the sake of being evil, and their motivations make sense inside of that. You don't need to make them sympathetic. But and Gege is doing did an amazing job with that villain group on that side of the spectrum. On this side of the spectrum, these are arguably equally detestable villains, but we get all of this pathos for them. You know what I mean? And it's like, obviously that's because they're human, and that's probably the difference. But I mean, like, you can definitely give monstrous villains pathos too. But guaranteed. still, you know what I mean? Just the fact that like we have these two stories, these are the two stories that I feel like do villains the best in Shonen Jump right now. And for them to handle their villains entirely different. Well, not entirely different, but I mean, like, just seeing this difference in general is just really cool to, because it could have just been the exact same situation in two different stories, but obviously with different characters, and we'd love it all the same. But having my top two stories, you know, for villains have such a different landscape is really great for variety inside of Weekly Shonen Jump, I think, for me.
For sure.
Yeah. To piggyback off what you said, what that made me think about, because you made that comparison, I think with Jujutsu Kaisen, the type of villain pathos we get is just that these are entities that are made to do this. Right?
Yeah, wow.
So what's crazy is that, like, both of them have this thing where I talk about all the time, where both of them have this thing where society creates the monsters that the characters have to go against. Yes. And for Jujutsu Kaisen, it's just the power system. Yeah. And, you know what I'm saying? And that's agree. And for My Hero Academia, it is the power system as well.
Sure.
Where quirks are causing people to make certain decisions, and we're making certain characters go through certain things, which starts leading them to turn into the entities that we see them run into. That's why we have the Dobbies and the Shiggies and stuff like that, because, well, the whole league, you know, because, okay, the world made of quirks treats me with this type of quirk this type of way, you know what I'm saying, or treats me who had this family who was these type of people this type of way, you know, that type of deal. And I think that's what makes them so cool, where you have to, where those two things are their cores, but they're still done so differently. It's really awesome.
Wow, that was really well said.
Yeah, I love that.
You were spitting there. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's really cool. I just feel so bad for Toya. I've always been a Dobby lover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
sure.
And I always knew that his backstory was gonna, like, be not just like this, of course, but be something of this along these lines. But I think it kind of hits me harder because I never thought in my head that Toya would want to be the hero.
Right.
I always thought that we see Toya being forced because you have these powerful flames, and maybe Endeavor would be a fool and would be like, "There's some way we can get around your body. Maybe we'll take you to some scientists and see if they can modify you, or let's see." You know, those were the type of things I thought maybe he would do. Use that number 2 pull to try to get, you know, some type of science or anything like that. But to see that he puts a fire in Toya, that he even says to him, like, "You've started this. You know what I'm saying? You've made me want to believe that I can surpass All Might, and now I have this belief, and you can't just snatch that away from me, because I built who I am around it." And it's like, and Endeavor now doesn't know how to sit down and take that in and be like, "Okay, well, I got to show you a different path." He just sits and tells him stop, and Toya doesn't get that. He's like, "What do you mean just stop? Like, I can't just stop. You know, like, I have powerful flames too, Dad. Look at me. I can endure the pain, Dad. Look at me." And for a child to do that to you, and you're still just like, "What are you doing?" and not understanding your role in it, it makes it hard for me to want to give Endeavor that redemption. It's like,
for sure,
you were never putting your feet in other people's shoes, and you're the one bringing this entity into the world. You brought this kid into the world. You did that, you know, and you're not, you know, respecting that. You're not putting yourself truly on the pedestal of, like, "Okay, hold on, I did this to him. He didn't ask to be here."
Right, and it's weird that a character like Endeavor wouldn't understand that you can't just tell your kid to stop.
Right.
And that's it. Like, you're hurting yourself, you need to stop. You're hurting yourself, you need to stop. Every night, that's your whole approach. Like, like you are way more competent than this, I want to believe, as a hero. But this is way back in the day, I forget. You know what I mean? And this is a great way to show the inexperience for Endeavor, flaws in his character in general. You know what I mean? Because this is a very odd, like I'm looking at this and I'm like, bro, you have to have other words than just stop. You know what I mean? Like, you're a whole father. Like,
and I can totally imagine, you know, the other children, you know what I mean, also feeling this way, just not having taken it to this extreme. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah, like, Endeavor, you did ignore us our entire lives. As soon as we found out that Shoto has, like, the perfect quirk combination, like, you just gave up on us. You know what I mean? And definitely Endeavor, I think, is rightfully being portrayed as a bad guy here, right? As you said, Doncho, right? Like, he created the situation. We could say, like, he should have done better for Toya, but, like, I think he just doesn't treat people like people. He treats them like tools. His only goal is to beat All Might. He doesn't care how he gets there. As the doctor even told him, like, for the record, like, this is, like, super taboo what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and he just keeps doing it. Like, wild.
He doesn't care.
And Toya attacking Rei and Todoroki. I'm assuming he's attacking Todoroki specifically, and not his mother. which gives kind of like credence to the way that I interpreted, this the conversation between Endeavor and Toya leading up to this, because he says, take my advice and this will be a distant memory soon. And, Toya goes, the kids all at school all say they want to be heroes. I can't understand that because I've got you for a father. So what I was saying earlier in this segment is that he's saying this because I can't just be a hero. I have to be the number one hero. And this is the attitude that I have to have, because if I want to be the number one hero, and I have to be the number one hero because you're my dad and you're going to be the number one hero. And then he looks at Todoroki, who Enji says is the actual one who's going to be number one. And he's probably like, fuck that. You know what I mean? And goes to go attack. I'm going to be number one. I'm the son that wants this the most. Yeah.
Right. And totally could be right on that.
Yeah.
Now to argue a little more for my approach here, right? Like that what Toya is saying here is that, I can't understand wanting to be a hero because I've got you for a father, because my argument would be like, because you're shitty, right? Like you're an awful father, and I would never want someone to be a hero in your position such that you would ignore your children. He then after says like, you're the one who made me want to be a hero. You made me want to be number one. Look at me. Look at me, Endeavor. Look at me. And the bottom of 17 or bottom of 16 on the left, right? Look at me as he's looking at Shoto, right? You're focusing on Shoto. I want you to look at me.
Right? So that's why I'm attacking Shoto, because you won't look at me.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Now here's a really big question I have about this last page, right?
Yeah.
So currently, canonically, we understand that Shoto's scar is from his mother boiling water on him. Literally, he's going to get a scar from Toya, and the scar his mother gave him is because she's tired of seeing the scar from Toya. She wanted to overwrite the scar or something like that. You know what I mean?
That'd be
so
crazy.
wait,
he's about to hit Shoto here, probably. I don't know.
No!
Wouldn't that be wild?
Yo, that'd be so crazy.
Because now I'm trying to remember in the flashbacks when we seen when
she originally, yeah.
I'm trying to think of, but I can't remember if there was any type of scar or anything like that prior for him.
So that's right, because it does show him before he was hit with the water in the story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because she does.
I don't really remember fully.
Yeah, she does dump like scalding hot water on him, right? That's how he gets the eye scar or the eye. Yeah. That's what it was. Is she dumps water on him? Yeah. Right. So I do remember now, actually, in that scene.
Sure.
I'd have to go back and double check. Yes. But I would like to assume his face is clean before the water hits.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I'm probably misremembering, or at least
but that's
definitely
a cool
like a whole
thought, though.
That would be so sick, though.
Yeah. And I love Ray saying like, you're not the only one who didn't really see him. So it makes you think, to a degree now, she's kind of stepping up too. Like, I kind of ignored him too.
Yes.
Like,
yes. That is definitely what she's saying.
You this perfect kid, and wasn't really trying to be the support I needed to be to these other kids because you were a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? She was just going with the flow kind of, and I think that complacency now is starting to backfire on her. She's starting to really see it.
That's a good point.
I wouldn't necessarily say she was complacent or going with the flow. She could have been. She definitely could have been. I think honestly though, like what I get from this chapter is she was depressed.
Yeah.
Every single scene she's in, she is like looking pretty sad, pretty down. Even the beginning when they first meet, right? Like she seems aloof, like, yes, I'm gonna do this, but it's for my family. Yeah. And then later, like on page 10, she looks like, I don't know, in a daze, in a haze, she just doesn't look very happy.
Look at those eyes. Look at the
page
dark,
12,
the darkness around the eyes. Yeah.
Yes, page 12. She looks like not very thrilled.
She's not really there. Yeah.
I think she like kind of was depressed at having to go along with this quirk marriage stuff that's obviously very taboo. She knows it's taboo. She knows it's bad. She's going along with it because that's her duty as, the daughter of this Humura family, kind of situation. And she's I think she's definitely saying at the end, like, it wasn't just you, Endeavor. Like, no one really saw Toya, including me. But like, I think I give her more of a pass. You know what I mean? Like, she was in a bad position.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of like Stockholm syndrome, and there's all kinds of shit like that playing into it all stems from Endeavor. You know what I mean? So Endeavor is the one. Like you can easily give Ray a pass, but I think that man, what if Toya hits Ray and she has like a scar like under her clothes or something that like she's always had, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That, you know, she has to carry that. She scarred Shoto, her relationship with Endeavor. There's so many things that could go into why Rei, you know, I don't want to say allowed things, but like just why her character, you know, went about the way that it was, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many factors involved attacking her mental stability that it's like decision making in those circumstances. It's like if this went to court, it's like what would happen, you know what I mean? Right.
So yeah, no, this is like just super interesting though, because like basically how I see this chapter going, you know, having gone is that like Endeavor did say like I'm gonna stop training you, like Toya, stop doing this, right? And kind of like doubled down on the quirk marriages thing, and now it has obviously at the end of the chapter, end of the flashback, bit him in the ass, right? Boiled up that Toya has been ignored too long, right? And kind of distributing blame a little bit across both him and Rei at the end of the chapter. So like I feel like what the chapter is kind of doing is trying to make it so that yes, Endeavor made a mistake in going this quirk marriage route, but is he bad, you know what I mean? Like he did try some things to try and undo this situation, and then Rei is like, yeah, I was bad too. But so it's like, damn, are we going in that redemption direction?
Right. Because I totally see what you're saying here, because if Rei is going to say I share some of this blame with you, and then we forgive Rei, then you would think that by extension Endeavor will be lumped in there, because Rei and her are gonna like maybe cry and be like, we sucked, but it was mainly me, and I'm so sorry, you know, and then it's gonna be like, you know,
imagine the Endeavor press conference if Endeavor's alone. And he says what's going on. But if it's the Endeavor press conference and it's the Todoroki family saying, yo, yes, this guy made a mistake, but it was a family affair, and we're all to blame, and we all worked it out. And for the record, like Dobby's the bad guy. Like that'd be a very different press conference.
Way different.
And I think that would cause Dobby's raise to skyrocket.
Oh my God.
I think him seeing just that family camaraderie, even if it's just for that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
he would
be like, okay, I didn't hit y'all hard enough. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta come back and melt this whole fucking school now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Wow.
That is if they come together.
That is if they come together.
We do not know how this next chapter is going to go. It's going to be so crazy.
But see, like Dobby, okay, so like I feel like now that we've had this conversation just now, I feel like that is the most likely to happen, because we need Dobby to lose to some degree.
Sure.
Right? So Dobby comes in, his plan that he's been building up for X amount of time, he got his moment where he exposed Endeavor in front of everyone. That was his moment. He's like, all right, yeah, like I did my thing. You know what I mean? He's probably got more cooking, but like he won there. You know what I mean? Now the Todoroki family comes together. That's like the ultimate L for Dobby in this situation right now. And I feel like Kohei will give Dobby that L eventually in the form of the Todoroki family coming back together.
Sure.
Which is like, he's got to have, and I know he does. I'm sure he does. You know, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but you better have some A1 explanation and storytelling for the redemption of Endeavor. I'm telling you right now, like it better be good. It better be perfect, son. You know what I'm saying? Because man, imagine the internet. Imagine the internet if it's not perfect.
I think it'd be very interesting just for a final note. I think it would be very interesting if this isn't Endeavor's redemption and this turns into, okay, we have to now make Endeavor the poster child of heroes can't be like this. And that because we already see that the civilians are fighting out on their own.
And what is that going to
heroes no more? So they're really just sitting here. What if they decide to go, okay, even if the Todoroki family comes together and they say this was a bad guy, this is a thing, you know, saying we got back together for this moment, the public can still go, okay, cool, so you were wrong all this time. So now we have to put you under a microscope and everyone else who's a hero under a microscope and really see what's going on.
Because it's like, you're number one, dog. Like, you're number one. How is society, like, okay, if official words come out, like the society talking is one thing. Get Endeavor out of here. No, Endeavor's great, whatever. But if official words come out, you know, from motherfuckers that matter and say Endeavor is the shining example of the hero you don't want to be, You're the number one hero. What is a statement like that going to how is society, like, what is that going to do to society? To say the number one hero is trash.
Yeah.
And what if that makes them go, so who is really All Might?
Right.
Oh man.
Shit!
Oh,
Yo!
Everything, you know, and I just wonder if he goes, that's why I want him to go. I really do want him
to go. No.
I would love that. I would actually love that.
Yeah.
I'd be all for that.
How and it's like people who call this a generic shonen. It's like, man, it's like that situation is possible in this story. Yeah. The situation that Dansho just explained is possible in this story. That situation is not possible in a generic shonen.
Sure.
Not at all.
This amount of like depth, like this family's drama, like this isolated family drama directly affects the rest of this story's world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and this isn't even like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't even like the family. You know what I mean? Like the Todoroki family isn't like the talk of the town. It's like, it's just Endeavor.
Right.
But like that character's family drama, significant, and obviously, you know, you could say, well, he's the number one hero, of course it will, but it's like in general, you know what I mean? Like this is something that you just don't see.
You have to remember, nobody before this giant moment was asking these questions before. Yeah. Nobody was wondering what they were doing in their regular everyday lives. But now that's about to change.
Yeah. Like these are situations, like this situation itself is so unique to the shonen genre. Like this is the number one hero and you have this background. Like this is, everyone is looking at this person as their symbol, as their hope, as their, like, you just don't get subversion like that. I feel like this is an entirely unique situation in shonen. If anyone remembers a situation similar to this in shonen storytelling, please drop it in the comments because I'm very curious about that.
And one or two examples is not this. You know, we need like a good solid few. You got to give a list. You know.
Yeah. Hey, shit. A list obviously would break the entire argument, but I mean, like, just even one example. I'm having a really hard time thinking of, you know, an author that wanted to inject this dynamic into their shonen story. You know what I mean? A dynamic like this. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, this is something, like, this is like Game of Thrones level family drama.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's like both my top twos are in situations like this. We got Game of Thrones and My Hero Academia and Game of Thrones and Jujutsu Kaisen right now. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. Game of Jump.
Hell
yeah. I think I'm good on My Hero Academia though.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Great combo, you guys.
Awesome. Per usual.
Okay. Peace Daily Zestance. One Piece. Chapter 1004. Millet Dumplings. We got Chopper on the cover here. This chapter is crazy. We got Chopper on the cover here. Reader request. Chopper handing out Rumble Ball candies to a squirrel and monkey packing their cheeks by Hugh Mori. Now, I understand that this is a reader's request, but isn't this fatal?
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope these are fake Rumble Ball candies, otherwise our boy's going to overdose here.
Right, like, the squirrel, I know squirrels got these big jowls and gullets, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, come on, Chopper?
Facts.
What are you doing? Out. You can't let him pack that. I mean, the monkey got too many too, but I mean, the squirrel can pack a lot in there.
Talk about malpractice, Dr. Chopper.
Right. Anyway, this chapter's fucking phenomenal.
I cannot believe that we are getting Tama so OP in this arc. Right. Holy shit.
Now, this is something that I feel like we've talked about on the show, is like what's gonna happen when Tama pulls up and just dongos all the gifters, you know what I mean? Like, and like, so like this situation has been brought up probably on every One Piece channel. Sure.
You know what I mean?
But like this execution
perfect
is fine, because like before, like it was like, yo, that's a little bit too OP. What, is she just gonna come in and like convert all of the devil fruit users to her side and just win the arc? Back then, that sounded weird, but the arc has taken time to flesh out just how dire the protagonist situation is. So now that we've had X amount of time to really show the protagonist in this really shitty situation, now Tama coming in and kind of shifting the tide in this way doesn't feel as weird as it did, you know, 30 chapters ago when we first brought it out. You know what I mean? So it's like, Oda is just too much, bro. You can't say nothing to this man. He makes this fucking, like, if this situation happened in anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
I think he does, and Oda does this great job of too. Is like you don't just get Tama coming out of nowhere and doing this. You do get that flashback first too,
right?
And like that resolve.
And she's been here for a couple chapters now. Like this is her. This is her 7th chapter or so on the battlefield. So it's
exactly,
like,
and he's like honing in like. She took the steps even before that. She asked Horselina, like, I want to take me to the battlefield. Like, I want to get in there, be crucial, do things. I don't want to be on the side anymore. I don't want to be anymore. I only seen Wano with Kaido here. You know what I'm saying? With Odin here. Like, she's trying to... She gets this resolve of wanting to change, and you get the tears in her eyes saying, I want Momo to be the Ogun. And Shogun. It's like, it's so exciting to see her like this because I've loved Tama from chapter 1 of seeing her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So seeing her like this now is just so amazing. And Ace would be so proud. And it's just amazing seeing this type of development and growth for her.
Yes.
Yeah, oh my God, that's such a cool thought.
And I love, like, I totally agree with you. And, like, as she's saying, you know, like, I want to... see a different Wano with Momo as a Shogun, and I'm tired of being hungry. As she's saying that, on page 2, or 3 rather, she's like, as she's popping off these Kibidango, she's getting tired. You know what I mean? That's energy. That doesn't come for free. And she's like collapsing. And then on the top of, or the bottom, I guess, bottom of 3, she's like, her tummy's growling or whatever, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's somewhere in this.
Yep.
In this, oh yeah, it's actually top of 4. Top of 4, like her stomach is gurgling, or whatever, right? So she's like super hungry from like making all these dango, but she's like, she's being the best girl, just like I want to help out and like beat the shit out of Kaido too.
And it really sends home that or it really amplifies the message in that panel of Thomas saying, I want to see a different Wano with Momo as the Shogun. I'm tired of being hungry. I want to eat all I can while you show her stomach gurgling.
Yes.
With just a subtle sound effect. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like Oda. And okay, another thing I want to say, this is kind of embarrassing. I do not remember knowing that this is like an ability of Tama's. I thought that this was just food she had. It was a special recipe, or
hilarious.
something like that. I didn't know she was literally pulling these dongos out of her body. You know what I mean? Until this chapter.
Maybe if you had thought about it more, you'd have remembered that.
I legitimately do not remember
she does it a few times.
This is legitimately the first time I remember her pulling this food out of herself.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah, like I legitimately
that's like the very beginning of Wano.
Yeah, like I 100% did not remember that. I thought that this was literally just a cold-blooded recipe from Wano that makes Zoan users your slave. You know what I mean? Like so that was really crazy for me to see in this chapter. I was like, it's an ability.
I just love that this little girl is the hard counter to Kaido's whole squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
like she this one little girl is the counter to all of this.
That in and of itself is just cool. Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah. Wow.
It is.
Damn.
So we got the montage scenes here of the Dango going in all of the characters' mouths. Then we get Frankie versus Sasaki.
Sasaki, yep.
Man, it's so good to see Frankie fighting in a way that's not just back-to-back suplexes.
Yes.
Because this is his first, like, real fight since Senior Pink, you know what I mean? So it's like, I thought it was just going to be strong right. My strong right. I thought it was going to be I thought that was just going to be Frankie's thing. I love the Senior Pink fight. But,
for sure.
Like, that was just like, I was like, man, I hope that the suplex shit is left in Dressrosa.
And even in the Frankie fight leading into me seeing Usopp and Nami come with Frankie and start doing more teamwork stuff. Like, I love seeing my Straw Hats work in a team. You know what I'm saying? So getting more of that coming in and Nami getting her moment, you know what I'm saying? And Tama coming in and helping him get the people off of him so he can really have a real clash again instead of being held down. Oda's bringing these pieces together so well, like it's really good. I'm loving it. It's a nice war arc. I'm loving it.
And inside of the conflict, like with Nami, and her showing against Ulti in this chapter, I love the way how, because like in the first half of the story, it was very formulaic in regard to there's a group of enemies that coincidentally had the same number of allies as the Straw Hats. Everyone gets a 1v1 fight and it feels good. But then as you go into the new world and you know that Nami doesn't have the hockey training required to go toe to toe with characters, you know, that are at base just that strong in the new world. You know what I mean? So how does Oda supplement that? You can still show her fighting, but you don't want to show her having a tried and true 1v1 against Ulti. You know what I mean? Like, her value comes from, you know, when she has these huge feats, you want your side characters to be relevant. Obviously, they're not the monster trio, so you have to get creative to show them making a difference in the new world without giving them, you know, undeserved power-ups or like weird, awkward power-ups. You know what I mean? So how do you do that? You give her Zeus in that scene against Big Mom. Now she had help. It's still her. Only she could have done that, but that it wasn't just her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Only she could have done that. Only she could do this.
Yes.
Exactly.
Only and then you show her here. She's fighting Ulti and she has an impressive showing here, but she's retreating. Yeah. She's not squaring up. You know what I mean? Like she's kiting. She's kiting Ulti. You know what I mean? So like it's cool that that's how Oda decides to keep the side characters relevant by showing them in these high stakes situations where they're fighting characters they shouldn't be, but they are, you know, getting away with it because of other factors involved in the circumstance than just my strength versus your strength. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I just, you have to take your hat off to Oda for having this kind of awareness in chapter 1000. And I feel like any other fucking author would have just made Nami OP, made Usopp OP by now, made fucking Chopper OP by now, you know what I mean? Like, but it's just with like you have such a good understanding of your world and your characters that
and the way you write stories, right? Like here we maintain the comedy with Nami and Usopp retreating. We maintain, like, you know, Nami's a weather, you know, expert, you know what I mean, right? So like just doubling down more on what you love best about your characters. I don't really want to see Nami like punch someone with hockey, you know what I mean? Like, maybe in another 200 chapters or something, you know, like towards the end, right?
Towards the end,
but like no, I want her to be, you know, weather ninja wizard. You know what I mean? Like,
I want her to get these W's through creative strategy, and not power. Like Nami doesn't need to be a physical powerhouse. You know what I mean?
Or like say Frankie, we get to see him in his cool ass giant mech, like fighting a tyrannosaur or fighting a triceratops. And like we do get a little wrestling, we do get a little bullets out of the you know, general left, but we also get to see V for victory slash and like using a sword or whatever. It's like super sick.
The V for vendetta.
Even Usopp taking
the Kibidango
balls, special attack into their mouths, like that's showing him the aim to hit them in the mouth, but then combining with her, you know, her ability. It's like he's just, like I said, he's bringing all the pieces together in the right way.
And this is how you do it when you have such a large scale war with so many important characters. When you show these characters doing anything, it's got to count. Because they're not going to get a lot of screen time because it has to be shared with a lot of people. So knowing that and to strategically pick out the perfect situations to show these characters in that give them value without them taking up too much of the chapter, while still them being who they are at their core in those moments at the same time, it's like, come on, man.
Exactly.
Oda, stop playing with Oda, son.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the slander. Don't make no
sir.
Goddamn sense. And now Sanji, right? So people are mad about this Sanji scene. And I'm not going to go into it because I feel like I rant about this Sanji slander all the fucking time on this channel. But let's just talk about how cool it is that Sanji is in this situation. He finds himself in all the time. He's actually showing this time. Now, people say Sanji's always in this situation. This has happened 3 times. In East Lobby, Dressrosa, and now. Okay? So in 1,000 chapters, 3 times, relax. But also, this time when he got hemmed up, he it showed him like, God damn it, again? You know what I mean? He was like, I did this again. Like, I can't be doing this at this stage in the game. You know what I mean? So we got that acknowledgement from him this time, which is already wildly different than the last 2 times. And also, look at how fucking cool he is talking up fucking Robin, bro.
Yes. Yo.
Come on, man. This is one of my favorite Sanji scenes in hundreds of chapters. You know what I mean? Like underestimate Nico Robin at your own peril. That's all he says. After all of that, speak to this girl here and your voice will carry all throughout the castle. Call Nico Robin over here because we're going to chop off her limbs. We're going to torture her for a couple years. Then we'll kill her. He said all this shit. I expected so many different responses from Sanji after hearing something like that. But all he says is, all right, go ahead and play if you want to.
Right.
This bitch ain't the one, bro.
Exactly.
It's just such a fucking cool quote from Sanji.
It's as if he said, like, you don't want me to call her here. She's gonna beat your ass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so good. And you want to know what? This is awesome because we've been waiting for Robin to activate all New World. Literally all time skip.
Literally forever.
Like, we've been like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And this is setting up a ridiculously badass Nico Robin moment, and I'm so fucking here for it.
I'm begging for it. Nico's like my sleeper like straw hat. Like I'd be like, this is the one where I've been waiting for her to pop so I can like gas her to no end. Like, that's what I've really been waiting for. So I'm sitting here like, as soon as you show me this Revolutionary Army training,
yes,
I'm like, crazy.
Where is it? I need it. Oh my god! And so people have been. And I understand, you know what I mean? When a character for hundreds of chapters isn't being used, it's easy to go, Oda doesn't care about this character, Oda forgot about this character, Oda, is losing it on the screen time allocation that he had back in the day, whatever you want to fucking say. He's got something cooking for Robin, bro. And it's seriously. Not and when it happens, it's not going to feel like Oda is caving in to people complaining about the lack of Nico Robin or him going, oh shit, I forgot to use Nico. No, he was waiting to give us this. You know what I mean? And sure, week to week is the most frequent we can get these chapters. You want to see Nico Robin. You haven't seen any Nico Robin for years. It's got to be frustrating. I get it. You know what I mean? But when this Nico Robin scene hits,
it's gonna hit hard.
I'm just gonna be like, why did I even go? Like, why did I? Like, this is amazing. This is everything I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be like, and I'm one of the people that have been saying, like, man, I really miss Nico Robin. Like, Oda, man, like, I hope you haven't forgot about my girl. Like, I'm definitely a part of, the people that complained about this. You know what I mean? But seeing this page, woo, boy, when Nico Robin goes in, you are going to see a very different Noxie on this show.
Man. Listen, I love Nico Robin. I love her so much.
I swear, and I've been and we don't need to go. We've talked about it a million times about how much better she was pre-time skip compared to now. We don't need to do it again. But
how do y'all feel about the samurai situation right now?
Right.
With them, looking like they in a situation there, but somebody's there to save them.
And that motherfucker got some long earlobes on him. I'm gonna tell you right now, But see, now when you bring up Enel,
long earlobes.
Yeah, when you bring up Enel, you're like, well, what is he doing here? You know what I mean? Like the Enel idea. Like obviously now Oda isn't one who like likes to leave obvious breadcrumbs. So if it was laid out, somewhere in the story, like if this is Enel for whatever reason, obviously I can't.
Definitely not.
Yeah, obviously this is just a guess that I saw on the timeline that I'm.
Sure.
Right now, I don't necessarily think this is Enel, but if this is Enel, I thought it was funny to make the earlobe joke. But
sure, it's hilarious.
Yeah, if this is Enel, for whatever reason that may be, we have no information as to even try to think of why he would be here. So the Enel theory is going to be cheeks, and because there's nothing to support it. But Oda does this all the time. You know what I mean? If this was Enel, it'll be Enel. We'll go, what the fuck are you doing here? And then Oda is going to give us the perfect explanation for it. And it's going to be like, of course you're here then. You know what I mean? So like, I've been wanting to see Enel forever, so that would be cool for me. For the reasons that I just explained, can't see it being Enel. You know what I mean? Right. But like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure that this is not an earlobe; it is hair.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure on the panel above, you see them right there. It's probably Lady Toki, back from the past or whatever.
Yeah. Love that.
She knew either that she had to wait a little bit for them to try it out, and then she can flash forward to the future and join them or whatever, maybe when they need her most. But you can see someone in that middle panel in page 17. It's looks like someone feminine, like longer hair, cloak, next to Kiemo on there. Very, very likely not Enel, but
and it makes way more sense for Toki because it's like these are the scabbards. You know what I mean? Obviously Toki has a reason to be in this room right now, whereas Enel, we don't have a reason for
why are you here.
Right.
But it's Oda. You know what I'm saying?
I'm super curious to see who it is, though. If it's not Lady Toki.
Yeah, for sure. What if it is? Let's just talk about this. What if it is Enel, bro?
They gotta do something. Wano had to be doing something with the moon.
Yeah.
That's all I can.
They talked about the moon a bunch in this arc.
Yeah,
if it's an L, then this middle panel is someone in a cloak, and it's not hair that we're seeing over their head. It's a cloak over their head.
Okay.
And then the bottom panel is an earlobe, and we just don't see the cloak at all.
It's so ridiculous to even think about.
It is very ridiculous to think about, and for some reason,
it doesn't look like the same person, like you said, from the middle to the last panel, kind of like switches up. So you're like, wait,
unless it's hair, unless it's hair,
right?
You know what I mean? If it's hair, then that can very easily be the same character in both, and it is obviously the same character. Definitely. But yeah,
and I don't want to burst anyone's Enel theories here, but it's probably hair. It's probably not Enel. But if I'm wrong, I'll be thrilled. I'm down to see Enel.
It's really a win-win no matter what happens.
Oh man, I'm gonna say it right now. Like, please react to One Piece 1005 live, so that if it is Enel, we get that reaction.
I have to keep live reacting until it is revealed, until we get explicit. Like, it's like 2 years from now, like we're eventually gonna get the flashback of who this was, like healing the scabbards. Like,
hey y'all, I'm Nickums, and this is a tried and true reaction channel now. Welcome. You have 10,000 subscribers by the time this is revealed.
That's so
oh my god.
But I'm getting excited for this. This is heating up by a lot. And I've been seeing some people say they think that Zoro's gonna fall down to fight King. How you guys been feeling about that? You guys think that might be possible?
Well, he got his damage on Kaido, you know what I mean? So if he's not going to behead Kaido or whatever, he's already kind of like done his thing, you know what I mean? Like if he's not, like, you know what I mean? Because like, okay, how much more damage is Zoro going to do to Kaido? You know what I mean? So like this is my question, right? Because we know that Ryuma killed a dragon in Monster, and that's canon, One Piece canon, confirmed, right? So we know that actually is a thing. So if we're going like based off of like Oda's way of drawing parallels between other characters and the protagonists, like how Luffy's crew is very similar to Roger's crew, Roger and Luffy, Rayleigh and Zoro. Like there's Oda does this shit all the time. And there's many more examples that you can find. But I mean, like, if you're going off of that logic, I understand why people think that Zoro is going to kill Kaido, because Ryuma killed a dragon, and obviously they're setting up the Zoro and Ryuma parallel. But it still, even though that makes sense to me, it still doesn't make sense for Zoro to beat a big bad of this scale and not Luffy. You know what I mean? So there's a million conversations that people have had about how Zoro, you know, does catastrophic damage and then Luffy finishes it, or Luffy does catastrophic damage and then Zoro finishes it, you know, or whatever. But like, if all Zoro does is slash Kaido the same way Odin did, that's good enough for me. Drop him down, make him fight King. He kind of like did his thing, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, I could totally see him riding this entire fight out with Kaido and killing him. I could see that too. I'm not like a part of that like ZKKC like faction to that like, degree or whatever. Yeah. But like I want to see Zoro kill Kaido, even though I think it would be weird that he would beat Kaido and not Luffy or whatever. I honestly think it's weird, like for Luffy or Zoro to beat Kaido when Kid has way more, you know, beef with him. Fucking other characters have such a bigger beef with Kaido than Zoro and Luffy. But it makes, but at the end of the day, it makes the most sense that Luffy does it, because this is his story. This is the same story we've seen throughout the story.
Right.
Luffy beats.
He's made his declarations in favor of Wano to save them from Kaido. You know what I mean? So like he's already made promises that he's going to kick the shit out of Kaido. We know that. But he still has Big Mom to contend with, and like now the Zoro thing, like maybe you just consider like, okay, he cut off the head of that robot dragon on Punk Hazard,
right?
And so boom, that like checks the box of like, yep, he also killed a dragon. I don't know. Yeah, I totally agree with you though that like if all he did at most was damage Kaido severely like Odin did, boom, that's feats. Yeah, like on the level of Odin, that's good enough for me. Like Odin was badass.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as like Zoro, like the reason why I want to say it makes sense for him to defeat Kaido, or at the very least, because this fight is moving to the public. It's still moving to the public. So it's eventually going to get to the public. If we see Zoro, because I want to say that Zoro is going to be the new hero of Wano. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Ryuma was the hero. Odin was the whatever. Like, if like the parallels are all there, like Zoro like has to be seen by everyone doing drastic damage to Kaido, at least. You know what I mean? So maybe he gets one more hit in, maybe he deals the final blow. I don't know, but either way, Zoro is going to do something tight in front of the entirety of Wano that raises him up to hero of Wano status, and maybe they forge a sword for him and just paint him to be like the new Ryuma, essentially, which is where I would want this to go personally. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Zoro and Kaido.
I agree with both. I agree with both of you guys. I think I feel the same way. I feel like either thing could happen and I'd be happy with it. You know, so yeah.
Awesome
Hell yeah,
stuff.
man. Wow. Just going back through the chapter. I don't think I have anything else.
That's about all I had. Yeah.
Wait a minute, Doncho, did you earlier in the review when we were talking about One Piece and you were talking about Speed, did you call her Horse Lena?
Yeah, you see Tama calls her Horse Lena.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Because I just remembered that because like you said that and I was like, Horse Lena.
Yeah, she calls her Horse Lena. I find that the cutest thing. Like,
yeah, that is cute. Yeah,
it's so cute.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that like name. I was like, is that a nickname that he gave Speed? Because that's awesome. Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish
right.
I did.
Well, yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
You guys good?
Yeah.
Remarkable conversation tonight, you guys.
Hell yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. That's going to do it for this episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, slap a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscription button or the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell so that we can chirp you when new content is live. Doncho, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
No, thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Like, come on, man. Thank you.
Legendary convo.
You killed it.
Sure. Every single time. Absolutely. But yes. Before we wrap up, once again, just like to ask you guys to take a look at the description down below whenever you get a chance. That's where you're going to see us on our social media accounts. You can follow us on Twitter, join our Discord and other online communities associated with Project Manga. There's also Spotify and Apple Music links inside of that Linktree link, so you can listen to us wherever you normally listen to your podcasts. And there's also an online store and Patreon that you can support if you're feeling generous. But with all that said...
Get your merch.
Yeah, get your merch. Absolutely. With all that said, I think that is going to do it for this episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Wrapping up, I'm Knox.
And Nickums.
It is me, Doncho.
Catch y'all next time.